Hey, lost here, and welcome back to Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club. Okay, welcome back to Nils Lost Book Club. Now, last time I left off with this game, we just conquered the heart of Peanut Butter Gamer, aka PBG, aka Austin, aka this game calls him PBG, whatever. Now, the rest of the path laid before me is pretty clear to me. Because they used to be a power duo. It was Peanut Butter. And our next option, as you may tell by the title of this stream and or video that you're watching later on, is JonTron time. Just call him John. Let's progress.
John.
I choose John. I whistled.
Really?
I see. Going for the big guns, huh? Huh? Always knew how to reach for the stars. Now look at you. You're up on the moon. Wait. What? She winked at me. Well, go on.
What?
What? Alright, let me open up my, not so coffee. There we go. We're good. Time to begin anew. Coffee and other things. What? Okay. Well, we're gonna do that, that. And actually, I'll put that there and there. There we go. What?
Uh-huh.
Go on, get your man. You now?
Yeah!
Hit me on the back and practically shoved me towards the door. As I began to leave, my legs turned to jelly. Small pink blobs stole my vision. What? Yo! I was tossing cherry blossom petals over my head. He has an infinite supply of them, I swear. Go get Senpai to notice you! Hi. I beamed at me.
Yeah!
No time to talk on it. This is gonna be your big day. You're your main character. Unless you mess up real badly, he'll definitely give you an answer. I've messed up a lot, though. Let's go! With a final shove, I was out the door. Now, where would I find him? John was where he said he would be, in the theater. He was holding Jacques and dramatically singing an opera song in a tone I didn't think he could muster. A sad-looking first-year sat on the bench of a piano, reluctantly playing music. I waited until a pause where the piano notes slowed, signaling the end of the song.
John.
John? Jacques, Ohana! He stopped and jerked to face me. A worse bird might have been sent careening towards the chalk-marked floor of the auditorium, but Jacques stayed firm. John cleared his throat and looked at the floor, receding from the opera mood. How can I help you, Anna? I wasn't expecting you. He coughed awkwardly, and I almost did the same. It wasn't my intention to stop you in the middle of this. Please keep singing. I'd love to hear the rest of it.
I don't know.
Oh, now that you're here, I don't think I can. Were his cheeks pink? Stage fright? And here I thought John's only setting was Joke Cracker. It was cute. I tried to hide my amusement.
Well,
I came here because... Now it's my turn for a peach face. I want to go to a flower festival with you, John. A breeze came out of nowhere, rustling my hair and clothes while I looked intently at him. A stray cherry petal slipped off my shirt and danced into the air. John turned. The pianist was making his quick escape through a door. I didn't mean to create a draft. Sorry. His eyes flew between the two of us for a moment. Then he ducked out the heavy door.
Hmm.
I have an answer for you, Hana, but first I need one from you. Huh? Was this a trick question? John perched Jacques on his shoulder, while I mentally prepared myself for whatever he was going to ask me.
Well,
Never told me whether you wanted to be in the play. I think your talents will be utilized well here. I'd be a tree. What kind of talents do I need to stand still in the background? I'll go to a flower festival for you if you agree to be in my play. I sighed. John didn't get it. No one wanted to be a tree. I'm disappointed you think I'm only good enough to be a tree, but I really appreciate the offer, Generals. I'll take it. Thank you.
yeah!
Yeah, Hana, this is your big break. I'll put you on the list for tryouts, but I can already tell your chances are good. Tryout? Tryout to be a tree? What? John picked the clipboard up off the piano and tapped the back of his hand on it.
Well,
I have a list of people who want to be trees, you see. I've picked the best one. Tryouts, callbacks, and another round, just to be sure. I was defeated. Don't worry, I've already seen what you can do, and I love it. Just come to the tryouts. Right, okay, I can do that. I'll do whatever I can to make you happy with this decision. I would have gone to a flower festival with you even if you didn't want to be a tree, but I figured we could get both of us what we wanted. We're going to be spending so much time together. Won't that be fun? I know what Jacques is looking forward to do. Huh? It didn't seem like he wanted to go at first, but now that I knew he was just as happy as I was, it felt much better. Even about being a tree. Come on, John. So, Jacques and I will meet you at the festival? As full force of fact that I did it, and he said yes, hit me, I broke into a huge smile.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds great. I woke up late the next morning, the day of Flower Festival. I was buzzing with anticipation, but because of that, it took me forever to wake up. It was almost noon, and I rubbed my eyes as I rose.
Hana.
Hey there, sleepyhead. Good morning. You're so even than I do. That's impressive, Hana. I sat up in bed, and something on the edge of my desk caught my eye.
Hey,
What's that?
I don't know.
Oh, that? A letter for you. Came in the mail this morning, so I just said it. I scrambled out of bed into my desk chair, where we opened a letter. We probably could technically skip all of this. Doesn't go with the spirit of the game, though. Oh, geez, calm down. It's not going anywhere. Turning away from her, I started to read. To Blossom. I've been doing these past few weeks. I'm sorry I haven't found the time to write. Your pa's been working hard lately, and I seem to go to sleep when I get home. I know things are difficult for you here, and I know you hope that you're having a better time where you are now. It isn't the same without you here, Miss Cheeriness, and your wash to be with you, and Miss Lawyer Pink cab over around the kitchen. I know you're bad about pressure. Don't me, but don't, just because I love you. There's nothing I want more in this world than your happiness. I miss you, Mana. Be strong. Your papa. And trembled. Tears filled my eyes. I hadn't written to him since arriving at Asagao. So many times days crossed my mind, I'd just been busy with other things. He was too worried sick, and from the sound of things, he was also depressed. I miss him, Father. I miss my home. I miss helping him. I was around to cook breakfast, he also never ate. He kept saying he was fine, but he was getting older without Mom there to take care of him. Are you okay? I wiped my eyes on my sleeve. Yeah, I'm fine. I just what happened? I picked up a pencil and paper and began to write, trying hard to block out the tears. Eventually, my turned her own work and let me be. Yeah, I'm doing really great here, and that's changed my life. I have a best friend, and I went to join a club. I even have a date. You sacrificed so much to bring me here. I know I hardly gave you any choice with the way things are going. I'm not spoiled and not grateful, but you always did whatever was necessary for me. I miss you so much, but thank you. I know it's a huge sacrifice. Please eat well and take care of yourself. Remember, 2 glasses of water in the morning and 1 before bed. And have breakfast. Scrambled eggs are easy to make. Don't smell your face out and ketchup, just like I would if I was there. I'll never lose with that, so make sure you do it. I miss you. Oh, Mom, happy birthday. And sadness. Meanwhile, it struck me as a surprise upon getting to the festival that there were people other than Asagao students wandering the streets. Immediately I realized my folly. This was a festival for the town of Higanbana, after all, not for the academy. The people ambled about happily, including quite a few city folk coming in to see what must be a well-known festival around these parts. I smiled. It was nice to feel involved. My cell vibrated from the small pocket I stashed it into. I ducked into a corner to carefully extract it.
Anna, this is your number, right? It's John. Can we be late? There's been a crisis. I'll get there ASAP.
A crisis?
John?
What's wrong? I shot him a text back, staring at my phone's screen for some kind of feedback. After a few minutes, I realized nothing was going to come. Whatever was happening, he was dealing with it on his own. The sigh turned back to the crowd flowing past the stalls. Now what was I supposed to do? I didn't like being around crowds, and I was too worried about John to enjoy the festival, although I tried to take what he said with a grain of salt. John seemed really panic about anything. Even my being cast as a tree in a play was life-threatening decision to him. His very well-being depended on anything from what to have for lunch that day to ensuring that nobody in their right minds read romance novels and called themselves a friend of his. Oh, wait. In all likelihood, it wasn't anything too bad, but that didn't help me worry any less. I sighed again and stepped into the flow of the crowd. At the very least, I could look around and see if there was anything interesting. I didn't actually expect to find anything interesting. But somehow I stumbled upon a fountain in one corner of the festival, set up to look like a group of dancing sirens. They held hands, almost like they were actually moving with each other. Wait, one of them was moving! I crept hesitantly towards the fountain and a twitching siren.
Jacques, it's you!
It's Jacques! Jacques turned to look at me, then dunked his beak into the fountain. Once wet, he shoved it under his wing. Was he raining? Curious, I crouched down next to him. Birds scared the heck out of me, and I didn't know why. I didn't have any bad experiences with them. None tried to kill me as a kid, none stole my favorite jewelry, or pooped on my favorite outfit, or tried nesting in my hair. Maybe it was the aerial advantage. Birds are only a few technological advances from becoming evil kamikaze pilots, dive following their prey without mercy. Yeah, without mercy. Maybe that was it. Bird had a chance to be better than you, it would take it. If it could take advantage of you, it would. Damn it, Birdman. Birds were savage, heartless creatures, as far as I was concerned at least. But how? But then, here was Jacques, the most beloved thing to his cheerfully bumbling owner. Somehow he entered the heart and love of John through staying by his side, even through all the sass. Well, Jacques was a robot, so it wasn't really the same thing, was it?
Hey!
There you are.
John dashed through the crowd, darting right past me and picking up Jacques out of the fountain.
You know I hate when you leave without me. And to go to the fountain, really? You know how I feel about fountains. What if you fell in? What then? You should wait for me to clean you, not go all willy-nilly on your own.
I wanted to look pretty for our date. Jacques' glowing eyes turned to me, and John followed his gaze.
Hana.
Ah, there you are. It's like I've killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Proverbially, not, literally.
Smooth operator, this one.
I don't need your sass. Anyways, I'm glad you up, Hannah. How about we go get something to eat? You like dango? Jock and I love it.
Yeah.
I haven't had that since I was a kid.
Yeah!
Let's go for it then.
I was prepared to have delicious dessert-filled dango that evening. I was not prepared to die of sugar-filled sweetness. Dango having.
Here, Jock, this one's for you.
Dango time. You fight one of these as a boss and Nezumi Man. John held a strawberry dingo up to Jock, who pinched a treat inside his beak. He didn't start chewing it or anything. Undoubtedly, as a robot, he could not eat. Instead, he turned to look at me, eyes red with glee. I got a treat.
You did. Good for you, Jacques.
Happy day. John chuckled, popping a bit of dango into his own mouth.
So, how'd you and Jacques find each other, John?
That's a bit of a tough question to ask. Jock's creator's a bit of an elusive man. I didn't get to meet him. But a family friend apparently had a bit of an experience up in Tibet. He came back with this bird and...
Neko Junkie, thank you for 8 months of sub. Oh god. Yes.
He came back with this bird and these huge bags under his eyes, walking like a zombie. He practically threw Jacques at me, saying he didn't want to deal with it. I still don't know what he meant by that, but when I booted Jacques up, there he was. Fully fledged robot, autonomous AI, and free will, able to form bonds, connections with people, with a functional memory bank, and a hot chunk of sass to boot. And hell yeah, brother, indeed. Ugh.
He stroked the top of Jock's head. Jock's head, who didn't seem interested in his own story.
We had a lot of adventures after that, you could say. I got in a few scrapes. Jacques got me in a few scrapes.
I resent that.
But he's always been by my side. He's what got me to Asagao. He's what made me interested in electronics. He's what's kept me sane and feeling like I mattered.
John stopped.
Anyways, don't you have something like that? Something you love more than anything else?
I guess, my dad?
Really?
Really? Usually people aren't too keen on their parents.
No, my dad's the best.
Wasn't never what you told. Okay. Good to know. Bloop.
No, my dad's the best. He's an artist, a sculptor. He makes pottery, run his own shop all by himself. Even after my mom passed away.
John's face fell and I stopped in my tracks. Oh god, Hana opening up with the mom died.
Anyways, he sacrificed everything for me over the years. I'm the most important thing to him, and he's the most important thing to me. I miss him so much.
Well, if he runs his own business, he probably keeps busy. He can afford to send you to Asagao after all.
John laughed heartily and a pang shot to my gut.
You mean you can't tell?
Tell what?
I frowned, not really sure whether I was happy or sad.
I'm not rich like you people are here.
You people. Damn, those are some strong words.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying. Asagao serves steak for lunch every Wednesday. Actual steak.
Yeah, and?
That's not normal. My dad and I eat ramen half the nights of the week. I help him in shop all day when I'm at home. I never owned a game console. We only have one 7-year-old computer that we split between the two of us. I use bus passes to go anywhere.
Okay, sorry.
Huh.
You seem kind of stressed.
Yeah, well, being around all this luxury is more unnerving and relaxing. Half the time I'm afraid I'm going to break something or get a stain on my uniform. If that happens, I'll just have to wear it the rest of the year. We can't afford to replace it.
Ice cream and said.
Yeah, that.
So, wait. Work in your dad's shop? You don't go to school?
No, I go to school too. I was in school the whole time. It's just, I just met on weekends.
Oh, that sounds like it sucks.
He looked at the dango in his hands and back at me.
Huh.
I should have paid for yours.
No.
No, don't you dare give me that.
What? It's only right.
I don't want your pity. I guarantee you all the other normal guys notice, but they didn't treat me like a charity case. Just treat me like a normal person, like you used to.
Okay, if you say so. Also treat like a tree, though.
We descended into an awkward silence. I shouldn't have yelled at him like that. Now things are weird and I didn't know how to fix them.
Yeah!
Oh boy.
John pointed at something across the way and ran for it. I followed him from a distance, unable to catch up with my restrictive yukata.
It's a bird, a stuffed bird. Wait for me, Hana.
What?
Me?
No special treatment, remember?
Oh no. Does he incorporate everyone to win birds for him? It took me 12 tries to win that damn stuffed bird. Even then, win it, booth manager gave it to me out of sheer pity. John accepted it with the utmost graciousness, and I resisted the urge to punch him in the face.
I'm gonna take you to bed with me every night. His name is Mr. Snuffles, and he'll never leave my sight. Never.
I'm glad.
But it was hard to stay mad at John, even when he wanted me to be a fucking tree. It was always hard to stay mad at John. He comes back usually. Hell yeah. Sad and happy John. This might be a tumultuous chapter.
Hey!
What do you think? Does that look good?
John was pointing to a chunk of hollow wood painted burnt to orange, part of it set to make a birdhouse. It was a few days after the Flower Festival and we were at the mall. John asked me to hang out with him. When I accepted, he immediately came here. It was a little confusing to me. We were talking to each other more than usual, hanging out with each other all the time, but I didn't know whether he considered the Flower Festival as our first date. I wasn't sure whether he had feelings for me either. And I had feelings for him, but what were they? Or they wouldn't? It was all too confusing, so I almost preferred the general silence on that subject. Right now, hanging out with each other was fun. I didn't want to think about it harder than that. We were window shopping and chatting with each other, but of course when John saw this birdhouse in a shop window, he stopped. Now, nothing I did would make him budge.
Well,
I do like the colors.
It is a home fit for a king. It is heaven. It is the seventh kingdom. Buy it for me. I glanced at the price tag and gasped.
Maybe not. Let's, Doc, you look like ice cream, don't you?
I enjoy it in theory, as every other semi-sentient human being does. But you know what I would enjoy not in theory? That birdhouse. John snapped his fingers.
He makes a compelling case. Alright, buddy, if it's for you, it's worth it.
Finally, you see who wears the pants in this relationship. And as pants are fundamentally worse than wearing dresses or going naked, we know who is superior here. I eyed Jacques warily, but John simply laughed.
What a cod, right, Hana?
Right.
John went inside to buy the birdhouse. I stayed behind the main center of the mall, watching a mother and her 3-year-old son walking past. Part of the reason I didn't want to go in there was because everything in that shop was so damn expensive. Very thought of walking around there sent shivers up my spine. One wrong move and it'll be back to Amarisa for me. But the other reason was that I needed some time away from Jacques. My feelings on him were mixed. Admittedly, it was hard for me to hang out around him so much. It was clear that John wasn't going to part with him, though, so I tried to suck it up. It was clear that Jacques was a well-behaved bird robot, one who was not at all inclined to talent-based murder on a whim. But every now and then, he'd flutter his wings or turn to bring himself an adrenaline shot through my body. I was constantly on edge. It was nice to have a break, even if it was only temporary. John emerged from the shop, a large cardboard box under one arm.
Sweet, I got it. Ready to head back?
what?
What? Already? We just got here.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
I'm gonna drink this water. I mean, it's not coffee.
It'd be hard to lug this thing all over them all, though.
John made a face at me and I sighed.
Fine, let's go back.
Sweet, thanks, hon.
A few days later, I was sitting in John's dorm room, wielding a heavy hammer. John poked his head over the instruction manual, examining different planks of wood in front of us. I had no idea how this was supposed to become a birdhouse, but John was determined to see it through.
Nail this in here.
John pointed to a dot in the orange wood. I lifted the nail over the spot.
Here?
Yep, there.
Are you sure?
Yes, it'll be the side. Hammer it in.
I scrunched my eyes shut and lifted the hammer.
Whoa, 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 whoa! What on earth are you doing?
I froze, staring at him.
Hammering the wood?
Hammering your fist, more like.
Hi. Better with pottery wheels?
Give me that.
John yanked the hammer from my hand, shaking his head.
Kill you like a maniac, I swear.
He was smiling even as he huffed. Nighttime. Day faded to night as we worked on the little birdhouse, fielding some harsh words from other boys on the floor, mishaps involving incorrectly attached spokes. Finally, John screwed in a peg on the front of the house and sat back on his heels.
We did it. It's done.
It is.
A tiny orange birdhouse with a dirty red roof stood proudly in front of us, about as tall as my arm.
It looks bigger on the box, but maybe this is better.
John stood at the birdhouse on the edge of his desk and smiled.
Now Jack has a place to stay when he pretends to sleep.
When he pretends to sleep?
Well, he's got recharge, but you have to plug him in and watch him for that to happen. Otherwise, battery could overload, he'd literally explode.
He can explode?
He's got a self-destruct mechanism too, but don't worry, only I know what phrase triggers it.
Was that really a good thing?
So, now that we're done, do you want to take a break and play some games or something?
Oh, that sounds really nice. Do you mind if we do a puzzle game? I'll practice for a tournament, so...
John's face darkened. As soon as I said the word puzzle, I stopped in my tracks.
Puzzles. My old nemesis.
He stroked his beard, then turned to stare solemnly out the window. I timidly approached him, hands pressed to my rapidly beating heart.
What happened between you and puzzles so many years ago?
It wasn't what I wanted to happen, I'll tell you that.
John leaned an arm over the window, then heaved a heavy sigh.
I loved puzzles. They were good to me, and in return I was good to them. We were symbiotic. But then...
He shuddered.
They destroyed me. I was stuck on a puzzle. A puzzle I witnessed several times before, but was never able to solve. Spent hours poring over this puzzle. Days even. Finally, I decided to take a break. What can take my mind off this? I asked myself, and surprisingly I knew the answer. A new puzzle. A new challenge. Something grounded in reality. I would solve a 1,000-piece puzzle.
But John...
I know I should have known better. Should have been more careful.
He clenched his fist, then hid his face. After a few seconds, he collected himself and resumed.
I shook the pieces out of the box and set to work, but both games were salty. Hindsight, I should have known better than to puzzle in front of another puzzle.
So, what happened in the end?
I lay a gentle hand on John's shoulders. He nodded at me, gathering strength from my touch.
I finished a 1,000-piece puzzle. All except for one piece.
No!
No!
That piece went missing.
No!
No!
I found that piece underneath the very puzzle I was solving.
No!
Yes, that is as it happened.
John put his face in his hands.
When I returned, a shattered mess, to my beloved computer puzzles, I discovered my save was wiped out as well. I knew then what happened. The puzzle gods were angry at me. No, they are angry with me. That's why I can't go near them.
He turned slowly towards me, staring at me with eyes ablaze.
That is why you are here.
Me?
Yes, you.
Hana.
You, Hana. You are our only hope.
John took my hand in his, leaned towards me. His brown eyes got bigger and bigger, and what pretty eyelashes he had.
Huh?
Then his face set just centimeters from mine.
Ah!
Don't mess this up, okay?
Okay.
He stepped away from the window and from me, returned to a rugged birdhouse.
See you later.
Anyways, I've got some work to do now, so I'll see you later.
Summarily dismissed it, not entirely sure what just happened. I gathered my things. John was inspecting his planner, frustration etched on his face.
Right. Thanks anyway, John.
John glanced at me and seeing the sad look on his face, frowned.
No, thank you. Really enjoyed myself. This is fun. We should handle it often. I'm not satisfied seeing you alone only every couple of days.
That would be nice.
Huh.
Such a shame you're not interested in enjoying the play. I'd get to see you all the time then. I swear you're just right for a tree.
He shook his head sadly.
See ya.
Anyways, be seeing you.
The more time I spent with John, the more attractive the prospect of joining the play became. Of course, being a tree was not something I'd ever be proud to admit to. I certainly wouldn't be running home and telling my dad about it.
Hey, Dad. How was a tree in a play?
Good job, Hana. Might have still blossom.
Well, if I can see John every day,
It just might be worth it. John and I tried to spend more time together over the next week, but it would be rather difficult. Between John's play practice, our homework, PB&J, Norwood's club meetings, and practicing for tournament, there was hardly any time in which we could see each other. Even when we did, we were almost never alone. Mine was in my room, PB&J in his, Dean's wandering the fields and hallways. With all the time I wasn't spending with John, I started to reconsider his proposal. As insulting as was his belief that I would sincerely make the best tree this side of the Pacific, I had no doubt he sincerely meant it as a compliment. In that weird John way of his. John was prone to putting his foot in his mouth. He was blunt and straightforward and usually said exactly what he meant, even if that wasn't the most tactful thing or even what his true feelings in the situation were. Besides, if you looked at it from a different way, being a tree really was a special kind of talent. One hand remained silent, still, and completely and totally lacked presence. Apparently they're just trying hard to develop this kind of ability, and here I had it naturally. Sure, pretending to be a tree wasn't exactly as cool as being a ninja, but it would be kinda cool being a play. Due to my stage fright, I'd never been in one. I didn't even have to speak to be a tree, it was a perfect role. I didn't think another opportunity as forward as this would come again. So with these totally reasonable and not at all reaching justifications in mind, I went to class to talk to John. But John wasn't in class that day. It was unusual, but not totally unexpected. John was falling behind with preparations for the play and had been working hard. It wouldn't surprise me if he'd skip class to build a set or review costume designs. So when class finally ended, I headed to a theater, intent on accepting John's offer and helping any way I possibly could. This theater is dark. I opened the door to the theater, it creaking with what felt like deliberate menace. The light from the open doorway cascaded through the audience seats and down to the stage. But nobody came. The house lights were off, only a few lights dimly lit on the stage. Maybe the drama club didn't meet every day? It was weird to have those lights left on if nobody was around. I wasn't about to go fiddling under the dark with the stage equipment, though. Maybe John was resting in his dorm room. I turned to leave when something made me pause. Was that Sniff? Someone was whimpering. Concerned. I stepped down towards the stage.
Hello? Is anybody here?
My voice echoed, bouncing off the walls backstage. There was a slight chill to the air the further down I went, and the stillness caused goosebumps to creep up my arms. I heard it again, this time to my right. Hesitantly, I followed the sound, heart pounding hard enough to shake my vision. A dark form emerged, huddled against the wall.
Who are you? What are you doing in here?
I took another step closer, my vision adjusted. It was John, hunched over something in his hands. His face was pale and lined with smudged tears and sweat. It looked like he hadn't moved in hours.
John!
I rushed to his side as he attempted to stifle his sobs. He reached an arm towards me and I took his hand in mine.
Hana.
Anna, it's terrible.
What happened? Are you sick? Are you hurt?
With another stifled cry, John shifted. In his lap was a tangled mess of wire, bolts, and green. Realization hit me like pot shattering against the floor.
That can't be.
Jock, he's...
John stared at the mess in his lap, shaking his head.
What?
What happened?
John howled, crouching over Jock's mess of a body again, and I checked myself. It was too soon, and John was in too volatile of a state to really be talked to. Instead, I rubbed his back, trying to talk in a soothing voice.
Oh, it's okay. He'll be okay. He's alright, so you can be prepared. He can be rebuilt if worse comes to worse.
John continued shaking his head, completely inconsolable. I had no idea whether Jack couldn't be fixed or if he was just losing it. And instantly, I shifted into caretaker mode, gently placed a hand on the side of John's head, feeling its near constant shaking, and pushed it onto my shoulder.
Shh. He'll be okay. You're figuring something out. He'll be okay. Focus on the sound of my voice, okay? I'm still here. You're still here. He'll be okay.
I tried to remember calming things, humming songs and gently rocking him back and forth. Back when I was still living with my father and started having panic attacks, this is what he would do to calm me down. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would work for John too. Eventually, John's trembling calmed. He sniffed. They wrapped an arm around me, hugging me like a teddy bear. We stayed like that for a while. I didn't know how much time passed, but I eventually lost feeling in my legs. Finally, John spoke.
Doc is the most important thing to me. What am I gonna do if I don't have him?
I pulled out of our embrace, searching his face.
You'll be alright, John. You're much stronger than you think. Believe me.
John swallowed, turning away from me. From somewhere within, he gathered his strength to pull himself together. After another second or two, he sat back on his heels and looked at me.
Thanks, Anna.
He was still very clearly upset, but at least he was coherent. I nodded.
Maybe there is a way we can fix him. I'm not sure, but when I saw him like that, I just...
His breathing sped up again, the beginnings of hyperventilation. I recognized them from my own experience. I stroked his hand.
It's okay. We'll take him and see right now. Let's just focus on that for now. Until we know for sure, let's focus on what's happening right now.
John nodded solemnly. With a gentle hand, he took off his jacket and turned to Jacques, or what was left of him. He placed everything in his jacket, then balled it all together in his arms. When he had checked that there were no holes bolts could drop out of, he nodded at me.
Let's go.
We rushed from the theater to Bluebell House, heads down to avoid eye contact with the students. Thankfully, due to the chill in the air and the lack of sun, few students were out. Neither of us were interested in answering the questions that were sure to come once people saw the look on John's face. In fact, nobody did, it looks like. When he finally made it to Bluebell House, John asked me to fish the keys from his pocket. I did so, ignoring the blush that fought to rise to my cheeks, somewhat irritated that even in such grave circumstance my mind wandered to other things. Finally, I pushed open the door and John rushed in. As I followed, I checked the hallway. Nobody had come out of the rooms. We were, as far as I could tell, safe. John went straight to his desk in the back of the room, where a small metallic contraption was attached to his computer. Seeing it was a Jacques size, I assumed that it was where he slept or charged. I sat on the couch, trying hard not to make a sound. John was, for a moment, not utterly consumed by his grief. I was terrified that something I said or did would break the spell. Thankfully, PUG was nowhere to be found. More than likely, he was on the field practicing for Asagao's first game against Tofu High. John placed Jacques' remains on his desk and unwrapped his jacket, moving painstakingly slowly as to not alter the positions of the wires and gears more than they already had been. When he finally finished, he put on his jacket without seeming to realize what he was doing. Those jackets are more like their second skins, it seemed. John paused to survey the damage, appeared over his shoulder at the tangled mess. Jacques' head and claws were still visible. Sort of. Though his feathers were burned off, along with the chips in the internal wiring. Wires were cut and edges blunted. Something that looked like a microchip had a dent in it. One of his wings was completely detached from his body. John turned to me and I hesitantly shook my head.
I don't really know anything about robotics.
John wiped the face with his hands, pushing his skin up towards his hairline.
I know a bit, but not enough to fix this. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Where'd you buy him? You could probably take him back and they could fix it.
Jacques was made by a monk who lives in a technological empire in a mountaintop in Tibet. Or at least he did. He's dead now. I still get updates through that guy's grandchildren. They update the operating system for him because it was easier to figure out than how some old man managed to make both fully functional AI and a robotic bird shield and sick to do together.
I see.
What were you going to do? It was a question I didn't need to ask. John's head was shaking once again, some kind of compulsive movement, and he must have not even realized what was happening. He didn't say anything. I had never lost a pet. My father and I couldn't afford pets, not his daughter or own. But I knew a lot about grief, the echoing pain of sudden absence. The absence of someone who was always there for you. The sudden feeling of living in a world with no safe harbor, a world where only you could look after yourself. I lay a hand on John's shoulder.
You want to be alone?
The edge of John's lips raised what must have counted as a smile given the circumstances.
Thank you, Anna.
He sat down in his desk chair and became as still as a rock. Before I left, I grabbed a blanket sitting what I assumed was John's bunk and draped it around his shoulders. I had a feeling he'd be like that for a while. As I approached the door, John stirred from his reverie.
Please don't tell anyone about this, Anna. Please.
I nodded. He turned back to his desk. I crept out of the room, shutting the door gently behind me. PVG would come back from practice eventually, and he would find John there. PVG had a very calming personality. He'd be able to handle things. He'd be able to help a little, at least keep watch over John.
I wish there was more I could do.
It wasn't until I was on my walk home that full impact of what happened hit me. I was so caught up in helping John overcome his shock that I forgot that I, too, knew and cared for Jock. Not as much as John. No way. I had grown fond of the little bird snark.
He's not going to sass me ever again, is he?
Hot tears rolled down my cheeks. I wiped my face and doubled my pace. Like John, I didn't want people to see me cry. Of course, there was no way I could avoid Mai, not when I lived with her. I opened the door to my room, and as soon as I saw the flickering movements of Mai's gold sweater, I ducked my head.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Anna, how'd the whole tree thing go? Good?
I turned away, setting my bag on the floor next to my desk. Then I stood and stared at it. I hadn't really thought past getting to my room. I was just trying to get so I wouldn't explode in front of everybody, so I had someplace to process things. Now Mai was here, and all I could do was hold myself together. By the next step, I'd fallen to the wayside.
Anna, are you alright? You don't look too good.
I swallowed. Yeah, staying around like a zombie was a good way to get people not to worry about you. I turned a bright smile.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?
My chin wobbled in the middle of my reply, and the look on Mai's face told me she didn't trust me as far as she could throw a semi-truck. Given how strong Mai is, that's pretty far.
Come here.
Mai sat down on the bed and patted the space next to her. I glanced from her to the door. If I wanted to, I could run into the bathroom. If I did, the stall would definitely be empty. I could cry by myself in peace. I would still know something happened, but at least we wouldn't have to deal with the awkwardness that was someone crying in front of you and not knowing how to comfort them. I followed my gaze to the door, then slapped the bed. Sit! I immediately sat down next to her. She turned to face me full on, and the presence of her big, emphatic eyes staring at me was uncomfortable. I grabbed Mr. Bunny. Mr. Bunny had always been there for me in times like these. He was the only one who saw me cry about things like this. I buried my face into his soft fur. Tell me what's wrong, Hana. You can't always keep things to yourself. You already do that way too much. I do not. My voice was muffled by Mr. Bunny's fur, but Mai just chuckled.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Sure you don't, because I can't hear you crying in your bed on bad nights. Immediately, heat sprung into my face. Had I woken her? How many times have she heard me? Why hasn't she said anything? I rubbed my hands together, shaking my head. My eyes stared at me, patiently, like a Buddhist monk in meditation. I sighed. But then another thought occurred to me. I said as I was about Jacques passing, John was even more upset, far more upset. He asked me not to tell anybody, so what was I supposed to do? It might be nice to tell Mai, but... It's not really any of my business. It must be if you're heaving sighs like that. She wrapped an arm around my back, resting her head on my shoulder.
Oh, no.
Come here, Hana. Come on, Hana. Lay it on me. Yo, Meister's got you covered. She nuzzled her head into my shoulder, my heart squeezed.
Well,
I ran into John today in the theater while I went to look for him, and at first it looked like nobody was there, but I heard noise and I found him crouched in a corner and I auditioned for a role, but I didn't do as well as he thought I would, so now I might not get the part. I winced as the lie slipped through my mouth. I didn't deserve dishonesty from me. But at the same time, John was a private person. He didn't trust easily. And this was very clearly a private matter, one that didn't belong with the rest of the gossip that sped daily between classroom doors. It wasn't necessarily that I thought Mai would tell people she knew, but potential harm was far, far too great for me to cave in a moment of weakness. Even if I was sad, even if I was grieving again, and I could use some comfort. Hana.
what a jerk!
Man, what's up with this Zach kid? He's always so rude. He spends all this time telling you were perfect for the part, now he's going back on his word? Don't worry, Hana. You're still the best tree in my eyes. We both know that was what matters most. I winked and pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry that you're sad, though. I do hope you end up feeling better soon. Life's too short to spend it worrying about some dumb boy. Tears once again filled my eyes, and I patted Mai's arm. Thank you, Mai. Thank you. I eagerly awaited John's arrival next day, image of his distraught form alone in his room, having played to me all night. Even though I knew he needed time alone, he was grateful I left him. Still felt like I abandoned him when he needed me most. I had Mai to help me when I was down. At best, I left John with PUG, but if he didn't tell PUG anything, I just left him to suffer alone. I twirled my thumbs by my desk, turning every time I heard a door open. No. He is friendship, though. No. Not him either. But PUG and John were roommates. Shouldn't John be with him? Jeez, Hana. You're gonna get whiplash the way you're whirling around like that. You sure you're alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Everything is fine. Yet again, Mai knew better, but she didn't press the issue. Apparently after last night, if I didn't want to talk, she wasn't gonna make me. Not while we were in class, at least. When the warning bell played, I finally got up across PUG's desk. I needed answers.
PBG.
Hey, PUG.
Hey.
I know what brings you this side of the room.
Well,
Did PUG not know? I need to talk to John about something, but he isn't here yet, is he? Oh yeah, he wasn't feeling well this morning. He said he was just gonna stay in bed all day. He pursed his lips. John's been acting really weird since yesterday, though. That morning he was fine. I mean, you saw him. But when I got back from practice yesterday, he was in bed. He didn't even want to go eat. That was how bad he felt, but he wasn't coughing or anything either. I hope he's not depressed.
Yeah, I hope not too. I tried to smile or do something to not raise suspicions, but PG cocked an eyebrow at me. Anna, you wouldn't happen to know anything about this, would you? Me? John made me promise not to tell anybody, and wanted to remain faithful to that promise. But this wasn't like telling Mai. PG was John's best friends and his roommate. If something was going on with John, PG was the person most likely to notice, most likely to worry, most likely to be able to do something about it. What if I didn't tell him and something bad happened? If John ever found out, I knew he wasn't going to like it. Oh right, first choice. Now, the way I see it here, PG is probably going to find out sooner or later. And since PG is A, his roommate, and B, 2, his best friend, in this case anyway, it would probably be for two of us to tell him ahead of time that something is going on. Because it's not like telling just some random person, like Ian or something. Or like Mom. Because they don't stay with John, obviously. So I'm thinking that we tell PBG about what happened. If we keep it between us and John, well, PBG would probably find out later. He might not be happy. But it might make John happy for the moment. I don't know. Let's tell him anyway.
I
can't tell anybody. Wasn't even supposed to find out, I don't think, but I want you to be able to take care of him. Fiji nodded gravely and bent towards me. Cut my hand around his ear. Shock broke. Fiji snapped upright, a look of horror on his face. I wasn't in the room last night now I think about it. Oh man, this is not good. You're not gonna tell him I told you, are you? Fiji looked at me and smiled as if he were holding a baby kitten. He patted the top of my head lightly. Of course not, I'm not stupid. I know you wouldn't want him to know, but thanks for telling me. I grumbled as I straightened my bow, smiling in spite of myself. I was glad you were lying, PBG. I'll try to just pretend I noticed it, even if I even bring it up. The loss of a pet can be really hard, so I know what he's going through. Fiji touched a hand to his neck, suddenly staring into space.
Hey!
You okay? Sorry? Oh, anyways, I'll make sure to take care of him. Thanks for letting me know. No, thank you. I'm glad you're looking out for him. You're a good friend. PG smiled and tipped his head back. Yeah, I know. I shoved him, giggling, then went back to my desk. Still, I wasn't comfortable just leaving John alone for the day. As Michizuka entered and started taking roll, I made up my mind. I had to go check on him. As soon as the bell rang, I shot out of my class.
Hana!
Chair, excuse me. Hana,
See you later.
don't worry about me. I'll see you after lunch. Sped out of the room, evading students pouring into the hall, and turned away from the crowd towards Bluebell House. I paused past the sign where John first stood and told me that we were in the same class, and speed walked past the field I got lost in that very first day at Asagao. John was just suffering on his own. I wasn't about to sit around and let him.
John.
John? John, it's me, Hana. You weren't in class today. I was worried, so I came to check up on you. Won't you let me in? There was only silence from inside John's room. Suddenly fear crept into my heart. John, you're not like sick or anything, right? You don't do anything rash, right?
Hey!
John! The doorknob turned with a soft click, and the door opened about an inch. I peered through the crack, and I was see anything but blue walls of John's room.
John!
John? Again, there was no response. After a moment's hesitation, I gathered my courage and pushed the door open. John sat huddled in the center of the room, the blanket laid over his shoulders the afternoon before drawn tightly over his body. It looked like he hadn't slept or even brushed his teeth since I saw him last. His clothes looked to be the same ones he was wearing the day I left him. Jacket smudged with oil from Jock's gears. Closed the door softly behind me and sat across from him on the sofa, tucking my legs underneath me.
John.
John? His eyes were red and puffy. There was no doubt in my mind that he had been honestly crying. I'd been there before. No, not exactly. I knew something of what he was going through. I reached into my backpack, took out a small bottle of water, sliding it over to him. For the first time, John responded to me. He grabbed the bottle and tried to twist the top open. His grip was weak. After 2 failed attempts, he stared sadly at the bottle. How weak was he? Had he been eating or drinking at all since yesterday? I twisted the top of the bottle, then handed it back to him. With a few quick gulps, the bottle was empty. My fears were confirmed. He probably wasn't eating or drinking. He thumped the bottle on the table, the hollow echo sounding loud in the silence of the room. Then, for the first time since I came in, he looked at me. I'm gonna quit the drama club.
What?
You're what? He held up a hand as if to stall my questions, glancing away.
You don't understand. Jacques was my star, my queen. He was my everything. I can't go on without him. But I might as well quit. Nothing will ever be the same.
John quitting the drama club was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of, especially if the depth of extremes of his own drama queen personality could get to. Still, if John set his mind on something, there was little I or anybody else could do to dissuade him. A bit lip and nodded. But after seeing his passion for this work, after finally coming to the conclusion I wanted to join the play to be with him, I didn't want him to quit. And after all the hard work he'd gone through. Alright. Well, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a I've played this game before spoiler here. This route is difficult for a few reasons. Because there's merit to both of these decisions is one of those reasons that it is a difficult route. I mean, if you want to support him and support his decision, that's your prerogative. You also could try dissuading him. I'm gonna err on the side of dissuading him, if only because just because something bad happens, you can't just hang up everything and quit. So we're gonna dissuade him. He must go on. Even if this was what John decided to do, I knew better than that. He knew better than that. This was a decision made in a momentary fog of sadness. It wasn't something he should stick to, or else he would regret it down the line. So... I really don't think you should quit. John turned to stare at me blankly, wrapping the sheet around his head so he looked like a nun. It made me want to laugh, but I held it in. You know how much the drama club means to you. And I'm sure Jacques wouldn't want you to quit either. I'm sure he'd be on your shoulder right now giving you a ton of sass. For the first time, I realized one of the reasons Jacques was so important to John. He bounced out John's personality. Jacques was able to quickly nib John's anxiety in the bud of humor, focusing John's thoughts on Jacques' sass instead of letting him descend into the darkness. I knew it couldn't replace Jacques, but maybe...
Don't tell me what Jacques would have wanted. How could you even know? You didn't even like him.
Oh no, I love Jacques. John, I'm just as sad as he's gone. As soon as it was out of my mouth, I wanted to take it back.
No!
That wasn't what I meant to say.
Anna?
The warning was clear. I nodded and hung my head. I messed up there. That was definitely my fault, but all I want to do is make it better. John shouldn't leave the drama club. I glanced up at him. He was staring wistfully out the window, the clouds having finally parted, letting some sunlight. As the sky reflected in his eyes, an idea suddenly hit me. Wasn't there another option? John heaved a heavy sigh, resuming his dejected state. I wasn't sure how Haley would take it, but it was worth a try. After all, it was just a suggestion. All he had to do was say no if he didn't want to do it. He wouldn't get upset about a suggestion, would he? John, I was thinking. Why don't you just go to the pet store and get an actual bird? One that looks exactly like Jacques and me. Now everyone they're the same bird and just pretend that everything is the same. John looked at me in surprise, but didn't say anything. I pushed through. I could even go with you if you want. Then you could go to the play. You wouldn't have to quit drama club and only ask bad questions. What do you think? John released something that sounded like laughter, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't.
How could you suggest such a thing, Hana? Replace my precious Jacques like he's a piece of meat or an object.
Well,
Well, he is an object of your program. Or he was, I guess.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
John slammed his hand on the table and jumped to my feet, somewhat shaken.
Over my dead body, Hana. I never thought you were this kind of person. I'm glad I found out, though. I can't believe I almost made you a tree in my play.
Calm down, it's just a suggestion. If you don't like it, you don't have to do anything about it.
Get out of here. This is a sacred space. Like so you aren't welcome.
John glared at me like the patriarch of some 1950s family and picked up my bag. I was just trying to help.
Out!
I stumbled out into the hallway, door slammed behind me. Well, as much as I knew he wouldn't like the suggestion, that was no reason for him to react the way he did. I was his friend, not an alien in human skin. He should have given me the benefit of the doubt, should have trusted me where I was coming from. No. I shook my head. Grief did more than make people sad, made him sensitive, stressed, volatile. Looking back at the months after my mother died, I did my best to contain my emotions, but even then I lashed out. Especially at the people I love most. I was going through a hard time. I might have made things worse for him. No longer hungry, I decided to skip lunch and go straight back to class. I could use the extra time for practice anyways. The next day, John was back in class. I didn't feel confident enough to go up and talk to him, but it was just as well. He was sitting in class, he evaded my gaze. It was as if I had physically wounded him by stressing to replace Jacques, the very possibility of poison to his soul. PG doted on him, making sure he came to lunch and checking over his homework before he turned in. Occasionally, he and I made eye contact across the room. He'd give me a thumbs up. Those were my only indications that John was doing okay. But at least John was around. Even if we weren't talking, that put my mind at ease. Third day after John came back to class, we were all gathered in the cafeteria for lunch. For the first time, John wasn't avoiding my gaze, and everyone was unusually cheery. And Shane said something he never should have said.
Hey.
John, Jacques hasn't been around for a while. What's up with that? My fork dropped onto my tray. Crossway, PG spilled half his packet of peanuts. I traded looks with him.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes birds need to migrate for a while. Jacques just went on a little vacation.
Migration? You mean what birds do for the winter? It's spring now. Heck, it's almost summer. Our species doesn't even do that kind of thing besides. John scoffed.
Well, thank you so much for telling me what I already know about my own bird. I'm saying that Jacques wanted to take a bit of a break, okay? Don't go questioning me just because you're such an elitist British know-it-all.
That's not what I was doing. It just doesn't make any sense.
So you thought I was lying?
He said abruptly. PG put a hand on his shoulder.
Hey.
Hey, dude, calm down. Let's just finish the rest of this meal, eh?
I can't believe this.
John gathered his tray and stormed out of the room. I watched him go, worry in my heart. He wouldn't want company after that, would he? I turned back to my plate, but PG cleared his throat. He jerked his head towards the door. Did he think I should go? Well, every time I tried to help John with his problems, he completely pushed me away. I didn't want to make him angry again. What should I do? Well, let's see. PG stays with him in the same room, and he's motioning for me to go. I think that in case that PG might know something that I can help with. Meaning that if I don't take the suggestion, it might be a bad idea. So I'm gonna go after John. Sorry, I'll be going on ahead. As I stood and gathered my things, something like relief crossed the others' faces. Just let him do whatever he needs to do. I'm sure you'll help. The others nodded and murmured their support. I smiled. Thanks, guys. Just before I left, Shane grabbed a hold of my arm. Tell John I'm sorry, too. I will, Shane. Don't worry. As I dumped my tray, I found myself chuckling. Shane and John were more similar than I thought. They always found a way to just say just the wrong thing exactly the wrong time. Found John sitting on a bench just outside the cafeteria, gazing into the branches of one of Asagao's many well-maintained trees. He didn't look up as I sat down. I didn't say anything. Instead, I kept them company, listening to the wind gently whistle through the branches. I'm sorry about what I said, Hana. Don't worry about it. It's all under the bridge. I shouldn't have... I know you're in a rough place. I should have thought more before I just it to you. I nodded slowly. Shane says he's sorry. He doesn't have to be sorry. I don't want to overreact. He just says what's on his mind, doesn't he? Yeah, it's what I like about him. There wasn't much either of us can say. I wanted to broach the subject of the pet store again, but I wasn't about to destroy relative peace at this moment. For the first time, John wasn't mired in grief or denial. For the first time, he just seemed kind of quiet. I'm sorry I've been so difficult. I shook my head. There's circumstances you're trying. Honestly, you managed to hold yourself together well. He nodded slowly. There's a small smile across his lips. Thank you for telling PBG. I didn't... He chuckled softly. I knew there was no point in denying it. Sorry, I just want to make sure someone was looking out for you. You did, and you were looking out for me too. Thank you. With a sigh, he stood up, wiggling the creaks out of his legs. I'm heading back to my dorm. Tell me Shizuka I wasn't feeling as well as I thought it was. You really shouldn't skip this much class. You already missed a full day. He shrugged. It's only school. I'll manage. With a half-hearted wave, he disappeared down the lane to Bluebell House. I frowned as I watched him go. At least, he seemed to be getting better. No, that was hard to say for sure. Sometimes I thought he was doing better, but then sometimes there were regressions. Well, I guess that was just how situations like this went. At least he was self-aware. Self-awareness went a long way when it came to things like this. When I got to the dorm that evening, exhausted after the tension of the day and having to explain to PG and Shane why John hadn't come to class, all I wanted to do was sit and practice my game. But of course, things were never that easy. You lose. Thanks for playing. Did you lose again? Yeah, I moved this new level of difficulty, now it's... You know, I mean... It's way harder.
Really?
Did you actually turn on Lunatic difficulty in a new Fire Emblem game? Oh wait, sorry.
Really? Let me see.
I climbed onto my bed and sat against the brick back wall, positioned just so she could see over my shoulder.
Okay, go.
I stared at her, not really willing to start playing again. I got the feeling that my watching me wasn't going to help me get any better.
I'll go.
With a sigh, I restarted the game. The loading screen cleared. I searched for my first two combos as the game slot counted down. 3, 2, 1, go! I started off with a section of the pink blocks to the left.
No!
Oh, there, the blue one.
What?
What? Blue one, on the other side.
Not entirely sure what she was talking about. I switched to a set of blocks on the other side.
Not that one. Oh, it set off a combo anyways. Look at you go.
I gritted my teeth and looked for more combos, trying desperately hard to concentrate. Suddenly my finger slipped off my phone. Mine was bouncing up and down on my mattress, making it difficult for me to keep things steady.
Do you mind? Oh, sorry, I'm just so proud of you, Hana.
Yeah!
Look at you kicking butt.
I frowned. Where was the combo I was going for? I swore I just had it. But by the time I found it again, my opponent found theirs. I heard the blocks were dropped by their monsters into my field and I lost the game. It was the fastest game I lost yet.
Wow, that's rough. Wanna go again? I think I noticed some flaws in your technique. No, I think that's enough for tonight. I have homework to do. Ah, if you say so. I set my phone aside, making a mental note to set aside time for practice when Mai was at volleyball. I scooted over to the edge of my bed, patting me on the back with two of her famous back-breaking thumps. I am so proud of you. You're gonna make history, and I can't wait for it. I smiled in spite of my annoyance.
Yeah.
I hope so. Thanks, Mai. That clicking you heard a little bit in the background was me adjusting a fan so I wouldn't. Because it's a little chilly today, so turning it down is best. No problem. Thanks for even trying.
Yay!
Thanks to you, I'm finally close to my beloved Jared. Yeah. Why don't you go do your homework? Fine, if I have to. I'm glad you're feeling better now, too, Hana. Did you say something? Nope, not at all. The next day, John stayed for the entire class period. He still looked worse for wear, a good deal paler and less cheerful than he was before everything went down, but at least he was there. Shane tapped him on the shoulder at the beginning of class, making some kind of hand motions I can get. It looked like he was trying to throw a baseball. John motioned back, a slight smile on his face, and Shane finally relaxed, a smile breaking through his usually cold demeanor. I tried to hide my smile, but couldn't. Miss Shizuka kept glancing at me like I was secretly making fun of her or something. And that's why the international government bodies agreed to set aside a decent sum of money in case of alien attack. Combinations of the XCOM plans and the Kobayashi Maru proved the humans. I was so happy to see him finally recovering that I could barely contain myself. As soon as class ended, I bounded up to John, happy as a clam.
John,
Hi! Before I even had a chance to speak, my request burst forth. You mind coming on a walk with me? I feel like I haven't gotten to talk with you in a while, so I kind of miss it. Despite the suddenness of my request, John smiled. Of course, I will. I've been meaning to talk to you about something anyways. As we gathered our things and left the class together, it was impossible not to notice mine and Shane's leering faces. I stuck a tongue at them both, then skipped out with John. John and I headed out to campus, where we picked a direction and took off. It was different walking around the academy with John, not worrying about getting to class on time or having a particular goal in mind. The buildings that usually are so impressive in their scale and neatness, especially compared to my old concrete building of a high school, now seemed like gleaming soldiers tracking us on our way. Suddenly, the academy was beautiful and vast. Despite a relatively small number of students and a handful of buildings that made up the campus, Asagao owned the land around for miles. The wide rolling spaces outside the main hub of the school were common areas, kept clean and safe by campus patrols, and that was why so many students felt comfortable resting or eating in the fields nearby. It was kind of like a paradise, wasn't it? John and I walked through one of the fields together, smiling as the wind tousled our hair. I really love it here. Yeah, it's not bad. A smile slid off my face. John seemed preoccupied, and a cloak of disappointment fell around me. Beauty had cast a spell on me, and for some reason I expected John to be acting the way he did when I first met him, when we first took that walk across the Asagao fields together. Of course he would, just magically be better. I of all people should know that. I wish there was something I could do to help you. You and Jacques were such good friends. You were there for each other when it mattered most. Anybody with eyes could tell how much love and friendship you had for each other, even though one of you wasn't technically alive. Honestly, I kind of envied it. I wish I could be as close to someone as you were to Jacques.
Really?
Really? You aren't that close with Mai?
We are close, but... well... I was kind of hoping we could be that close. Da da da! I said it! I put my hands over my burning cheeks. John laughed.
Well, I'm touched, frankly.
No, but really, if you and I could keep spending time together, I could maybe make handling your loss a little easier. That would make me so happy.
That's super cheesy. You're all cheese, aren't you?
No.
John laughed heartily. She's a monster cheese.
Coming from anybody else, I'm not sure I believe them, but from you, Hana,
John slipped his hand into mine.
I believe you.
John held my hand for the rest of the walk, right up until we went our separate ways in front of Primrose House. As I watched him leave, I held my hand to my chest. It still had its warmth. I wasn't sure where John and I stood regarding our feelings for one another, but with everything that happened, it did seem to time burn John with questions about where we were at, or where this was going. Certainly, feelings were there, even if we never explicitly said anything about them. But I thought that was just as well. The way things were progressing, and the way we felt. There were things that didn't need to be said, at least not yet. Not now. I was sitting in my room with Mai, watching a rather violent show about a group of humans trapped inside giant-sized walls, trying to free themselves from their giant-like enemies, when there came a knock at my door. Oh my god, are they watching Assault on Titania? Wait, what? Mai paused the upstairs on her computer, rolling her eyes.
I can't believe this.
Wonderful. Great. Go ahead and get the door. I'm sure it's for you.
As Mai hummed the series opening. I think that is Attack on Titan theme. I hastily crossed to the door and pulled it open.
John.
John.
John stood at my door, a broad grin on his face. Hearing the music, he peered into my room. I drew the door closed behind me and stepped out into the hallway.
What brings you here?
Lightning fast, John grabbed my wrist and dragged me down the hall.
What?
What?
Shh. John dragged me out and off to one side of Primrose House before finally letting go. I rubbed my wrist, trying to keep a lid on my anger.
What's that about?
Sorry, I just want to make sure we weren't overheard. I thought some more about your proposition.
My proposition?
Plan New Jacques 0.5.
Why 0.5?
Huh.
You don't want to know. Anyway, I thought maybe this could be a thing, right? It could totally work. Not really, but maybe. We could totally do the thing. We do this thing. And I thought, well, why should we stop there? Jacques, God rest his soul, was always the star of any scene he was in. A little scene stealer he was. I'll never be able to match his God-given charm and charisma. No way, no how. But I could at least give a new bird and teach all of Juliet's lines in play. I don't quit the play, the show goes on, and a touching homage to Jacques. Even if nobody knows the truth about what happened. What do you guys think?
He beamed at me. Hesitantly, very haltingly, I put a hand on his arm.
John, don't you think it would be easier to get an actual human to play Juliet's role?
Of course not. What are you, crazy?
He patted me on the head.
Silly, Hana. You know nothing of showbiz, but it's your innocence that makes you cute. Anyways, I have decided that you are going to the pet store with me. And you'll help me pick out a suitably intelligent replacement for my darling Jacques. God rest his soul. But we have to be sneaky about it.
Despite the fact that John made this decision independent of any input from me, I was excited. For the first time, John was looking and acting like himself again. The color was back in his face, and he was joking around in that fast-talking way he usually had. There was no way I could just turn him down. Not after the week we had, and not with how much I wanted to be around him without Jacques' shadow looming heavy over us.
Yeah.
Of course. I offered it before, didn't I?
Yeah!
Great! Thanks, Hana.
John clamped his hands over mine, shaking them fervently.
This'll be great. Really, it will. You won't regret this at all.
Why would I regret it?
But John already let go and was heading down the lane.
See you later.
I'll see you this weekend. We'll take the train to the city, so maybe don't wear your uniform.
Of course not.
Did he take me for an idiot? I scooted back over on her bunk to make room for me as I entered the room, hiding something sheepishly behind her back.
What have you got there? Definitely not a cookie.
What's up?
How'd it go? Everything good with Mr. Birdman? I think so. I really think so.
I'm glad you said Mr. Birdman. That's great. Birdman. Chapter 3. More of the Sad John is upon us. But as the rest of the week passed, it got more and more. I got more and more worried for John. Just blink it actually.
Hey.
Hey man, how's play coming?
You know, it's coming. We're having some trouble with the leads, so...
Really?
Wasn't Jock supposed to be the lead?
Yeah, or well... It's more like the side characters. There's a lot to juggle there. I've been busy.
Busy was the least of it. John was lethargic, often spacey, struggled to pay attention in class more than once. Shane saved him by whispering an answer when Mr. Zuka called on him. That and...
Hey.
So we should all get together to talk about the tournament. This time I actually talk about it. The last few times we got a little too distracted. But Josh challenged me to a marionette party match. I could have let my throne be claimed.
Yeah, whatever.
You don't even hold the throne anymore. Anyway, when it works for everyone, we should do it this weekend.
Uh-huh.
I can do it then.
Copacetic.
Sounds good to me. I got notes from last time. Just you wait. The essence passed around the table until it reached John.
He
glanced at me and looked away.
I can't really this weekend. I got lots of stuff for to play.
Really?
Really? I mean, if you can't, you can't, but we should meet sometime soon. The tournament's not far away.
Yeah, neither is the play.
Right, they're on the same weekend, aren't they? That's rough. Take your time then, I guess. We'll figure something out. I'll come over on Friday. We can brainstorm, PG. Sound good? Yeah, thanks, dude. Felt so bad for John. But it was okay. We'll get a new Jacques. Once that was over, we'd hopefully have time to practice John and start feeling better and getting his work done. It was just a matter of time. As soon as class was over on Friday, I left my behind, sprinting back to the dorm so fast I didn't have time to check with John about finalizing plans. I was too excited. I changed my favorite sweater and a green shirt combo, releasing a contented sigh as soft material encompassed my body. I rubbed my hands across my sweater, humming contentedly. Asagao uniforms are nice, but they can be stiff and starched. The fact that I only really had two meant that I had to wear them longer than I liked. It was always an unadulterated joy to put on other clothes. John and I were going to the city to find him a new Jacques. I was ready. And all the time I was at Asagao, I'd yet to visit the city nearby. I haven't been to a big city since I was a kid. With slight nerves buzzing in my mind, I sat down and waited. Maya was at volleyball practice, so I had nobody to talk to. I figured John wouldn't take long. I'd literally just seen him in class. Won't be much longer. He's probably on the staircase now. Where the hell was he? Was I supposed to meet him somewhere? I didn't have his number, so I couldn't call him. I could go to his dorm. Wait, he fucking texted you earlier this game. You have his number. Or I could go to his dorm, risk meeting him on the way, or risk missing him on the way, or I don't know. There was a knock at my door. Bowing forward happily, relief flowing through me. Hi, John. He just stood in front of me, avoiding my eyes. GG, what brings you here? John wants you to meet him at the school gates. Okay, is there a reason you're gonna get me himself? There is, but
Look, Hana, I don't know what you and John are up to, but please keep him safe. You know how he can be. Okay, of course I will. I'm a little confused. Don't worry, just keep an open mind. Oh God. Ryuji smiled at me, resting a hand on my shoulder. I straightened under his sudden touch. For some reason, it was comforting. Oddly familiar. He nodded at me. It seemed like this was something more. There was something more he wanted to say or express, but the look on his face told me he wasn't going to do it. With a shrug, he left. I locked my door and followed him outside. Students dawdled here and there on the grounds, much more of them than there usually were. Because it was a Friday, nobody felt the usual pressure to go back and finish their homework. Now, it was safe to say that Asagao was a nation of procrastinators, all needing the fear of God put in them before they sat down for a single assignment. I hurried to the school gate, praying John hadn't waited long. But when I got there, he was nowhere to be found. There was some weird guy though, and he looked kind of like a porn star. Actually, that's definitely the mustache of Gunther. My God. He glanced up as I approached. I switched directions to wait on the other side of the gate. Where was John? If only he would hurry. Huh? He was staring at me. Why was he staring at me? I turned around, peering back into campus. Nobody came. I was starting to get a little scared. The man took a step towards me. Then another. And another. I quailed, hands slightly gripping my purse. Was he gonna rob me? Try to kidnap me? I stared straight ahead, no eye contact. Eye contact will only make it worse. Not even looking.
Hana!
Hana.
Wait. Thanks for the lurk. For
Hana!
Malkovich. I jumped. Fucking lord. How do you know my name? The man reached out to touch me and I shrieked. And flung my purse into his head.
Ah!
Ouch, what the hell, Hana?
Wait, that voice sounded familiar.
John.
John, is that you? John rushed a hand over my mouth.
He's fucking with you. I mean, your uncle from Russia, got it?
Why are you pretending to be my uncle? And why are you from Russia?
I'm not.
John saw the small group of students pause, eyeing us warily. Then he leaned closer to me. I stared at the edge of his mustache. Was it glued on?
Not about to have people see me buying a new bird. I betrayed Jock enough as it is. I couldn't take it for everybody.
Ah. A number of problems of almost every single assumption that John made during this decision presented themselves to me, but PUG told me to be open-minded. In that case, we should get away from Asagao as soon as possible. John beamed, the edge of his inflated coiffure trembling with cheer.
Thanks, Hana. I knew you'd understand. Heck.
Still, it didn't make traveling in public with him any easier. We had to take a compartment with Granny sitting inside, and she spent the entire trip at alternating between glares and judgmental sighs. I was pretty certain she thought John was my pimp.
My niece. Beautiful country, eh?
Oh, the things I put up with over John. Thankfully, it wasn't much longer until we reached the city. John and I disembarked from the train, watching a smattering of familiar Asagao faces disappear to the subway station. In the city, John wasn't getting stared at nearly as much as he was in the countryside. Eccentric people were the norm, it seemed. We left the subway and emerged onto a busy street, small shops lining the road. Salarymen, middle-aged mothers, old men with dogs. Children rollerblading down the road. Everybody strolled past us, caught up in their own business, paying us absolutely no mind. God. Took a deep breath and smiled. Disgusting, gasoline-tinted air. Small scraps of paper littering the ground. Almost man in the corner of the sign with a cardboard sign saying we were all going to hell.
I
love the city. Cool. Me too. I can't imagine why a person would live anywhere else. The bigger the better, my opinion. There's just always so much going on. I nodded. John glanced quickly around at him. So, let's say we find this pet shop and get the ball rolling. Already?
Yeah!
Yeah, get in, get out. That's how Malkovich does things. Well, we just got here. It's my first time to a city in years, and we don't know where the pet shop is, and it'll be so much fun to explore. No one's even know it's you. I latched onto John's sleeve, bouncing up and down like a small child. Please, John, for me? Give him my best attempt at puppy eyes, remind myself to practice in the mirror later on. It was a necessary weapon, one worthy of practice.
Oh,
Do we have to? Yes. John groaned. Fine, but only till you find the pet shop, got it? As soon as we see it, we're getting what we came for and going home. Jeez, you're like a mobster. John wheeled his mustache and nodded. Away! White bookstore. Simply Scarf Shop. I see a distinct lack of scarves in this area. Super Veg. Maybe kitties. I like the scenery here. No fun shop. The signs are weird. And that doesn't seem to say anything. John and I had a great time wandering the city. We stopped off and got smoothies to drink, looked at statues, took turns smoking their poses in front of them. At one point, a guy cat called me from his car and John went full-on Malkovich on him, screaming at him in that peculiar accent. Hey, you're going for Malkovich's niece! Malkovich's niece! Do you know what Malkovich had to do to enter this country? You have no eye prospect. No. John ran at the car, and man and his friend sped away with tears in her eyes. My hero. It is what Malkovich does. The hours passed away without me even noticing.
John.
Malkovich, look at that. We were just passing by a jewelry store when something in the shop window caught my eye and I stopped in my tracks. Pressing my nose to the glass, I grinned. It was a string of pearls, now with this forming the meeting point between two strands. Is that something you're interested in? He looked at me critically, then shook his head. Can't say it suits you. Pricked, my shoulders hunched. I took a deep, long breath. It was okay. He didn't mean it like that. It came out much worse than he intended. I was sure of it. Almost. Well, I think it would look good on me. My mother had a necklace just like that. My dad bought it for her as an anniversary present the year she gave birth to me, and she wore it all over the place until... I stopped, not wanting to spoil the mood, but John raised an eyebrow. The what? Never mind. Glanced away at the necklace, this time noticing the price tag next to it. A rock fell to the pit of my stomach. Well, it wasn't meant to be. I moved on from the store after John followed me.
Hey.
So what was it? Don't worry about it, it's not important. John leaped in front of me, arms outstretched.
Hana.
Hana, I might not look like it, but I'm a person who values honesty. He thumped his porno chest, and I frowned. You gotta be blunt with me or else I'm not gonna get it. And if I want to know something, I don't see why you should hide it. Now if we're truly friends. It's sad, so I don't want to talk about it. If I was honest, that was only part of the reason. Yes, it was sad. Yes, it made people feel bad when I brought it up. But even more than that, I didn't want people to pity me. I got tired of seeing the looks on their faces when I mentioned it. The way their brows scrunched up and they cooed as if talking to a small kitten. I didn't want John to look at me that way.
Yeah!
Lean on me. I got this. John stretched an arm against the lamppost we were passing, planting his feet solidly on the ground. It seemed we wouldn't be moving until I said it. I sighed.
Hi, my mom passed away when I was 8, so I barely remember her. Happy?
He looked surprised for a brief second. I glanced away. I knew what would come next. I didn't want to see it. Instead, I strode on past him. In a second, he was right back next to me, pumping his arms in his characteristic show-tune manner. For a moment, he seemed like he forgot he was Malkovich.
Yes, actually, I'm quite happy. That wasn't too bad, was it?
The words flowed swift out of his mouth, just as they always did, almost without care. He wasn't trying to coddle me.
No, it wasn't.
So do you have that necklace back home, then?
No, she was buried with it because it was so important to her. My dad misses her so much.
John nodded sagely.
I bet. I think I can kind of understand in some way.
We stood at a stoplight, waiting for the light as crosswalk to turn green.
Why do you even come to Asagao anyways?
What?
What?
You're a scholarship kid, aren't you? Ain't you? Probably costs a lot to go here, so you must have some big reason.
I bet, look, why is John being so nosy? I bet he wouldn't like it if I asked him these questions. It was kind of hard to take him seriously in that getup. I scanned the street for something neat, something to distract him from the question, and gasped.
Look, the pet store!
The light changed to green, and I sped across the street and down the next block. Front sign proclaimed the shop to be Pets and Pests. Not the friendliest of names, but it would do.
Come on, let's go.
I grabbed the door and held it open for John, but he just stared at me.
What's wrong?
I
don't know if I can do this anymore, Anna.
He glanced down the street.
This was a bad idea. Let's just go home. What do you say?
I rolled my eyes and grabbed his hand, pulling him inside.
Come on, you'll be fine.
A seedy-looking old man glanced up at us as we entered the shop, but upon seeing John's get up, he turned to the back to the newspaper in his lap. New scene. Takatoka, 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 Takatoka. There's something. Poka Poka. What the? Polly Polly. Oh God. Polly Polly dog treats. Oh, that's Pie Pie. Okay. The way to make your pet happy. Pie Pie. This new formula. Something about new potential? I'll look at this later closely. A questionable reaction, but welcome nonetheless. I wasn't fond of employees hovering over my shoulder while shopping. I always felt pressured to buy something. Vast cages filled with puppies and kittens, ferrets and fish, spiders and snakes. I tried my hardest not to look at anything, partially out of fear and partially because I knew if I locked eyes something, I'd want to take it home. No, even more than that, I would take it home. I'd smuggle it into Asagao like illegal drugs and spend my days treating it like an actual family. Birds were at the back of the shop, presumably so their high-pitched chirps wouldn't upset the store on a particularly late night. We glanced through the cages, seeing birds of every shape and color. For such a small shop, they sure had a lot of variety. But then I spotted it.
Hey!
John, look! That bird looked exactly like Shock. It's a big image of him.
JJ! That, I believe, is a glass pane.
It's a big image of him.
John frowned, eyeing it skeptically. A grand-cheeked conure.
It's the right species, and it does look oddly similar.
He peered closely at the bird, who was snapping lazily on its branch.
No, the colors are exactly the same. It sounds like Shock was based off this bird, or vice versa.
What?
Pardon?
It's a conspiracy! Anyways, let's get him.
I headed towards the store owner, but John grabbed my arm.
What's wrong? John glanced away. The wheels were turning in his mind. John wasn't the hardest person to read. I don't have a cage or food, so I shouldn't do this. I don't know the words. I don't know about jocks. I should tell you more or something. You definitely have a cage. We all made that birdhouse together, remember? Yes, we did. Besides, I don't believe you're studying a day in your life. Rude. I happen to be a very intelligent and culturally sound individual. Just the other day I went to the symphony to hear Firebird. Okay, Mr. Culture, stop making excuses, let's go. I approached the store owner, who glared at me. I could read his thoughts in his eyes. Stupid kid. This is why I hate talking to employees at stores. Excuse me, can you please have that there green Knur? He flecked his tongue around his mouth. I could see a little lump probing his cheeks. What's it to ya?
What?
Huh? What? What's that bird to ya? A pet? The man snapped his newspaper back up, not even looking at me anymore. What the hell? Let me try. John approached the counter and slammed his hand down on it. The man peered around his newspaper and jumped. Oh, why, hello, sir. Your benevolence. How might I serve you?
Well,
I need that green birdie for my little lady friend. It seems she ain't giving it to her.
The man twisted his hands. He glanced from me to John. I'm very sorry, sir. I simply thought, but then the bird is rightly for yours. Pardon me. Rightly yours? What's he talking about?
Shh, just let it happen.
He boxed up the bird and included a handful of beginner's bird dimes at no extra charge. Quote. He bowed us out of the shop. In no time, we were back in the street and on our way back. I still don't get what just happened.
Malkoviches are a long, dignified line. They're practically celebrities back in their homeland.
Wait,
so Malkovich is a real guy?
You don't need to worry about it. Let's get home.
John patted me on the head, then started across the street. However, it took much longer than anticipated. By the time we were on our way home, I was exhausted. The bird sat quietly in its box on John's lap, John peering nervously through the air slits.
huh.
You think this is really going to work?
What? Trying as I might to stop it, I yawned. My vision was hazy, my head kept tipping towards John's shoulder. John smiled at me, his question remained unanswered. After some time, he rolled his eyes and patted the side of my head. I snapped awake. What?
If you're going to sleep on me, just do it. It's bothering me that you haven't made up your mind.
I smiled and scooted closer to John, laid my hand on his shoulder. He was so warm. I almost didn't mind that he was still in that Malkovich getup. Almost. Jesus. As the train pulled into Higginbottom, John shifted nervously. I pulled my head off his shoulder. Yeah, what's going on?
We're getting close to asking. I just realized something. PUD was supposed to be meeting up with Gerard tonight in our room. What if he's still there? Not gonna be able to take this, Jock in like this. They'll know something's up.
Oh, that's no problem. We can keep him in that dorm room. I just got a game tonight in another town. It was supposed to go on late.
Really? Are you sure, though? I know you're afraid of birds.
I mean, it's only until Gerard leaves, right? What could be the harm in that? The trip across campus was perilous. It took all of our collective ninja skills not to be caught by teachers or other students. Snake, you must use the bushes and post boxes. And soccer balls. And cardboard boxes.
But Colonel!
Utilizing bushes, post boxes, trees, and the occasional holding a soccer ball you found on the ground in front of your face trick, we made it to Primrose House. Just before we entered, I turned to him. Can you at least take your outfit and disguise now? I think it'll cause you more suspicion the way you are.
No.
No, it won't. Nobody can tell it's me.
Yeah, but I wasn't talking about suspicion for you. With a sigh, I pulled open the door. Malkovich's mind was made up. There was nothing I could do. Climbed the stairs with halting steps. I peered on every corner, ensured nobody was around.
New Jacques was surprisingly well behaved considering the amount of travel and jumping to and fro we were putting him through. Either he was still asleep, or he is so chill as to be confused with the dead. I winced as thought occurred to me. Too soon, huh? Too soon. We climbed to the 3rd floor and sprinted to my door. I took out my keys as fast as I could, trying to unlock the door. Nah. Koksu was suddenly next to me, having made almost no sound or approach. As I fit the key into the lock and turned it, Koksu made a high-pitched whine. Mai texted me. He told me to tell you to save a pork bun from dinner. I now see that this is no longer possible. I nodded slowly. Koksu stared at me, evidently expecting some kind of response.
Thank you.
She nodded, eyes flashing. Message delivered. With that, Koksu disappeared into her own room.
Who was that girl?
Well,
Let's just say the Jacques isn't the only robot in town.
Damn, Hana, that's cold. You can't just go calling people robots.
Oh, never mind.
I shoved the door open and ushered John inside.
Huh.
John set the box and a bag of products down with a sigh.
It's not heavy, but damn was it uncomfortable.
Thanks for carrying everything.
Hey, it's my stuff.
John shrugged, rolling his shoulders. I had the box warily. New Jacques still hadn't made a peep. Was he really okay?
I'm going to head back and check whether Gerard's around. I'll come back as soon as the coast is clear.
John followed my eyes to the box.
You sure you'll be okay?
yeah.
Of course, I can handle a little bird. I'll be back before I even know it.
Okay, if you're sure.
John was clearly uncomfortable with this, but I felt like I could handle myself. I shooed him out of the door. Just before it closed, I stuck my head into the hallway.
Hey, please change your clothes.
John gave me a thumbs up. Satisfied, I went back into my room. It was still and silent, as if I were totally alone. My uniform was still laying out in my bed, homework spread across my desk. Everything was normal. Except that there was another living being in the room with me. The sounds was really starting to throw me off. I tried to peer through one of the box's breathing holes, but I couldn't see anything. Was he even in there? All birds were this calm. Maybe I was wrong to be so afraid of them all these years. It wasn't like I had a rational reason for hating them. They were so small and fast and pointy. So much potential for destruction in one tiny flying package. I changed into my pajamas, sat in my bed, and looked around my room. Oh, now what? Well, we've checked on Mr. Birdie a few times. I think it would behoove us to actually practice for the game. As well, nothing else going on, and I feel like that just staring at the bird is not really fruitful. Yeah, I should practice. There are only a few weeks left until the tournament. After all, I didn't want to embarrass normal boots. Pull out my phone, turn it on. Instantly, several texts came in from Mai's number, all begging me to save her a pork bun.
Sorry, Mai.
I switched out of the texting app and started up the game. After a brief loading screen, the chirpy music began to play. I challenged someone to a multiplayer match and waited for a timer countdown. That guy was hard. The bird started screaming, bouncing into the box's walls and moving it to and fro across my desk. Pencils and books clattered to the floor. The box flew across my desk as if possessed. It drew close to the edge of my desk, almost falling off.
No!
No!
It was going to fall off. Not knowing what to do, I reached over and pulled open the lid. The bird flew out of the box and around the room, a complete blur. It ran to a wall, knocked down my shelf and onto my bed, and then into a desk. Objects fell across the room as if we were having an earthquake. Then talons flew at my face. I covered my face with my arms, and then it was on me, beating against my skin and tearing through my hair. Screaming, I crawled to the door, trying to shake the bird out of my hair. heavy thud came from my door, then I heard him.
Hana, what's going on?
John!
I reached up and pulled the door open. John ran into the room, eyes wide.
Oh no!
He glanced at me on the floor, then grit his teeth. I didn't see how he did it. I know it took some skill and effort, judging by his grunts and the way he hopped around the room. Eventually, after several minutes, the clattering stopped. The screeching became muffled. When I opened my eyes, the bird was back in the box, and the room was a mess. Papers littered the floor, books, action figures, pencils, clothes. Everything was flung here and there across the room, and there were fluffs of cotton lining the corners. It took me a few seconds to realize where the cotton came from. When I did, I froze. John turned to me, panting.
Why the hell did you let it out of its box?
Mr. Bunny!
Mr. Bunny lay on the floor, ripped to absolute shreds. If I hadn't had him for so long, I never would have been able to guess the tattered pile of cloth was him. The only recognizable part that remained was a patch containing a single button eye. I picked it up, hands trembling. Tears slid down my face. I bit the inside of my cheek, taking deep breaths, trying very hard to stop crying. It was my own fault after all, and it was only a bunny. It was only a bunny. It was only. I saw him to the tattered piece of cloth. John's eyes widened and he flailed uncomfortably.
Stop trying, stop it, stop that, please.
John, do you mind leave me alone for a bit?
No.
No, but I should help you clean up. This is partially my fault after all.
No, I would prefer.
I swallowed heavily, trying to stop my voice from wobbling.
Please go.
John hesitated a few moments, his hands reaching towards me. Then he nodded.
It'll be good to get this thing out of here.
He grabbed the box and rested the supply, shuffling carefully to the door. As he passed, I flinched. He hesitated, looking at me for just a moment. Then he left. John gone, I started sobbing almost uncontrollably. My rabbit was gone. He was gone. After all this time, he was gone. I crawled into bed, pulling the tattered eye to my chest. Normally, when I was this upset, I could go to Mr. Bunny for comfort. In fact, he was my only friend for the past year. Now, though. Now I was alone, and he was gone.
Hana? Hana, wake up!
I was rolled awake by Mai, who stood in her volleyball uniform, duffel bag at her side, and fury on her face.
What the hell?
What the hell is this?
I blinked rapidly, the rest of the room coming into rough focus. The mess on the floor, the cotton everywhere. Mai's things spread all over.
Oh? 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 Is all you have to say?
I hung my head, trying to keep tears from streaming down my face yet again. My eyes were raw enough as it was. For the first time since entering the room, Maya seemed to realize something was wrong.
Wait, are you okay, Hana?
She sat down on the edge of my bed, setting her bag between her feet. I tried to speak, but my throat was shut tight. I swallowed several times to no avail. Finally, Mai stretched an arm out and took my hand in hers.
Okay, tell me what happened. You have to. Wherever you've been hiding, it's clear something is up. I'm super worried about you.
I lifted my hand to Mai's, and a torn rabbit piece crumbled next to my pillow. I told John I wouldn't tell anyone, I promised. But now Maya was involved, her things destroyed, and her roommate a mess. She deserved some kind of explanation. But I wasn't sure John would ever forgive me if I betrayed his trust. You know? Here's the thing. Earlier, when John said that he was going to quit the drama club,
we had a choice of either supporting that decision or dissuading him. And the reason I used to dissuade him was that we shouldn't just give up on something just because it got hard or difficult to carry on. I feel like the same thing applies to this situation, where just because it's hard to keep it in doesn't mean that we have to let it out. And in addition to that, we also told PBG about it, but only because PBG was in a position where he could actually do something about helping John. Mai is not really in that position, so I don't think we should tell her about Jacques. Or at least that's what I'm assuming is what this means. So I say we let our emotions consume us and we wallow in it. I really want to tell you what happened, but I can't. Seeing the look on her face, I reiterated. I can't. I made a promise. I know that if you had something you wanted to keep secret, you wouldn't want me to tell anybody, right? I said out of desperation, hoping she would understand. To my great surprise, Mai seemed caught off guard. Yeah, you're right. There are things I wouldn't... She trailed off. Are you okay? I nodded slowly. I'm really sorry, but I really am. Tears pricked the back of my eyes and I rubbed my shoulders.
I'll support you.
Hey. Shh, it's okay, Hana. Don't worry. Between the two of us, we'll have this mess cleaned up in no time, right? She bounded up to her feet, completely restored from her intense anger. Yeah, let's look at this mess's ass. Mine might be quick to jump to conclusions, but she was just as quick to move on from them. A small smile crossed my lips. Right, let's get to work. I had forgotten. I might not have Mr. Bunny anymore, but I had friends now. It wasn't enough to ease the pain of the loss, but it was enough to give me the strength to get out of bed. I'm still not really sure I get it. It was Saturday afternoon, and Mai and I were sat in the library, bent over our math notebooks. I mean, it's a logical equation, but when I play in numbers, I don't seem to get the same answer as you. What am I doing wrong? Satch chuckled and pointed between my equation and one in the book. You forgot to copy down these parentheses, so you're doing it out of order. Ah, jeez. You know, it's kind of funny, Hana. Your natural for strategies is seeing patterns in things, which you think would make you good at math, but it's not that I'm bad at it. It's not that I'm bad at it. I get great grades in it. It's just that I mean, if I know what the answer is, why do I have to go through all this stupid effort to show my work? And then the results don't match what I thought. I bit my lip, not liking how ditzy I felt, but Mai whistled. It's a common problem people have in math, actually. Why do I have to show my work if I know the answer? You really are a genius. I glanced at Satch's notebook, on which he was scrawling out a complicated algorithm for some kind of machine he was working on. I don't think I'm the genius. Satch looked up and grinned. You two are ridiculous. You'll be right up where I am next year, so don't even act like I'm special or something. I blushed, but Mai rolled her eyes. The day I reach your level is the day Jared actually decides to date me. I winced at her put down, but Mai seemed completely okay with what she just said. He had finally come to terms with the fact that Jared seemed frankly uncomfortable around her. I watched her carefully. Maybe this was exactly what she needed, though. Now she could get to know the actual Jared instead of the Jared she built up in her head. Although the actual Jared seemed surprisingly fishy to me.
What's going on?
Oh, John. Hey, man. What brings you here? I jumped. John appeared behind me, looking distinctly uncomfortable. Hands in his pockets, he gestured towards the door.
Hey.
I was hoping I could speak to you, Hana. I was looking all over for you. Sorry. Yeah, sure. I nodded to Mai and Satch and followed John out of the library. We stepped out into the slightly chilly air, glanced at the clouds above us as silver ridges lined their edges. Looks like rain.
I guess so.
John nodded. I wrapped my arms around my body, getting a bit cold. I didn't even have the comfortable jacket John did.
So I just wanted to apologize for what happened yesterday. I should have stayed with you or taken the jock to my room. I know he'll have birds, so I should have been more careful.
No, I'm sorry. I had this crazy outburst. He had no idea what was going on. I'm the one who said I could handle it. I'm the one who let him out of the box.
John chuckled.
If you ask me, we're both at fault.
John beamed as if somehow both of us being at fault exonerated us. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to hear. But there was no reason it couldn't work like that, so why not?
Anyways, I wanted to make it up to you, so how's about we go on a date tomorrow? You know, if you want to, and if you have time, I don't want to put pressure on you or anything.
I beamed, clapping my hands together.
Yeah.
Of course I do. I'd love to.
Yeah!
Great, that's awesome.
The sun broke through the clouds above us, warming my face. I smiled, stretching my arms out to absorb the sudden light. Like a tree. But what? What a great day!
So, about the new Jacques, I'm getting a little nervous. He's really antsy bird, way more anticipated. He's just not as brittle as Jacques was.
And now we're on new Jacques. John was apparently completely unable to read moods.
I had to tape over the entrance to his birdhouse because he kept trying to eat all PUG's nachos. I didn't even know birds could eat nachos.
They can eat a lot of things, actually. They probably couldn't.
Well,
Well, Jacques was a robot, so...
Huh.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time training him. There's only 3 weeks until the play and the tournament. I need to practice the rat too. I'm starting to get a little worried, is what I'm saying. Doesn't help that I procrastinate the heck out of these kinds of things. More important, the worse it is.
Would it help if I trained him too? That way, you could have time off to do homework or practice or whatever?
John glanced at me in surprise and chuckled.
After everything that happened yesterday, you still offer to take over for me?
I mean, if it's for you, I don't see the problem.
Maybe if we work together, we'll be able to teach him the old Jacques robot voice. Oh man, that's a huge weight off my chest. Thank you so much, Hannah.
John stepped forward as if to hug me, then stopped.
Anyways, I gotta head back. Scene paintings happened today, so supervised. Last year they painted boobs and penises all over the set, so
Right, go ahead.
See you later.
I'll come pick you up tomorrow, so be ready.
John jogged off towards the theater. I cupped my hands around my mouth.
And don't you dare dress like Malkovich!
John waved at me. Whether that meant he wasn't going to, though, I didn't know. I was really bouncing in my stomach like a squirrel on too much caffeine. I darted back to the library, intent on finishing my homework before the next day. It took me several hours to finish all of the homework accumulated over the past week. So much happened, and there was so much to process that I had almost no energy left over to do my work. But my impending date with John gave me the vigor I sorely lacked. Smiling, I boxed my final answer on my math sheet.
I'm done.
I stretched my arms to the sky as the door opened.
hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
How are you? You're so cheery today. Is it about what John wanted to talk to you about? We're going on a date tomorrow. I'm so happy.
Instead of the joy I expected, Maya's gaze shifted away from me. She looked almost upset.
Is it not a good thing? What? No, it's great. I'm glad you're going on a date with John. I know how much you like him. I think. It's just that, well, after you and John left, Satch started asking me some questions. He wanted to know whether John was still practicing for the tournament. Apparently, he's been skipping out on practice and hasn't been helping anyone prepare. He's told me he's really busy with the play, but the other guys feel kind of screwed over. He's one of the founders, after all. If he's not putting the time in, why should any of them? That's not fair. It's not? If you and John don't want to tell people what's going on, that's your decision, but then you can't be upset when people will see your behavior and make assumptions based on what's there. I don't know what's going on, but John is slacking off. That's the truth. John has worked really hard right now. He's got his hands completely full. Full enough that he has time to go on a date with you? But that's not fair. I'm just saying, this is what it looks like on the outside. The other guys are getting concerned. I told you and now you know. You decide what to do with it. What I should do with it?
Well, I mean, John is warming up to us, so maybe we would have some kind of a way to exert an influence on him. If we bring this up to him, it probably could. We're gonna try getting him to be less stressed.
I'll try and get him to loosen up a bit. He's really swamped, but maybe I can do something to help.
Bingo.
That's the spirit. It might be a rough conversation, though. Why not just make it a comment? When you see an opportunity for him to go a bit easier, tell him then. That way, you don't have to spend all your time with him angsting about it. There's no reason not to be excited for your date. But John should be spending all of his time elsewhere. You don't understand boys at all. If you're important to him, he'll make time for you. If anything, this is a great sign. You think?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know. Come on, let's pick out your outfit.
I stood in front of my mirror, running my hands through my bangs. There was a cowlick sticking up in front, and I couldn't get it to lay flat. Fucking cowlicks. John will be here any minute. I don't want to spend my entire day worried about my hair.
So, can I ask you something? Sure, shoot. You like John, right? Yeah, I guess I do. Okay. But, like, why?
What?
What?
I shot her a look, unsure of what she was trying to get at with this. I held her hands in defense.
Okay, hear me out. I mean, the past few things you've told me about him have been particularly romantic, and every time you guys hang out, you seem to get stressed or worried. I just want to make sure you actually like the guy, and it's not some kind of crazy crush gone awry.
I turned back to the mirror, pursing my lips. It probably did look kind of bad from the outside, especially since both John and I have been so stressed. And John did say the wrong thing a lot, which could probably be taken as actually in consideration, like he was trying to hurt my feelings on purpose or something. But that wasn't the truth of it. John wasn't that kind of person. He just thought different from other people. That didn't make him any less sincere, his feelings any less real.
Anna?
Well...
Well...
But now I thought about it, why did I like him?
I tried to think of a reason. I just got happy feelings in my stomach and images John and Jock together.
I couldn't actually verbalize it.
But I was waiting for my answer.
Okay, so... this isn't what we're thinking at all. And that's not really a reason to like someone, I guess? It's weird. Because we could tell Maya the truth and it's just like, I don't know. Or we could lie to Maya and be like, he's blunt. Because, I don't know, that's not really a reason to like somebody, like I said. And John could be here any minute, so if he overhears a comment that's like, well, he's blunt, we like him that way. I don't know, it just sounds terrible saying that we like him because he's blunt.
How about that,
I didn't want to say something I would regret or that I didn't mean, so instead I started like an idiot. If I couldn't think of a reason for liking him, did that mean I didn't sincerely like him? Was this some kind of crazy infatuation? Was I more in love with love than with him? I was content with not stating the extent of our feelings. Now really, it didn't seem like the time to add more to either of our plates, but maybe that was a bit calculated on my part. I wasn't sure what the extent of my feelings were, and if that was the case for me, couldn't it be the same for him? No, was it more likely that he was trying to take advantage of me in some way, just because I was being kind to him?
Well...
if you need time to think about it, that's okay.
There was a knock at the door. My savior! I quickly packed up my phone and my wallet, then turned to Mai.
I'll finish this conversation when I get back, okay?
Bye-bye.
Okay, have fun.
John stood in front of my door, beaming as usual, holding... roses?
Hey,
Hey, I got these for you.
Oh, wow, thank you. I took the bouquet of roses from his hands, staring into the curled blossoms. I'd never gotten flowers before, and I didn't really know how to accept them. My parents owned a half flower shop, after all. I was usually the person selling the flowers, not the one getting them. I didn't own a vase, so I didn't even have anywhere to put them. 1 second. Oh, back already? Oh, nice roses! Yeah, John brought them for me. Playing the moves on, yay, but I didn't know you liked roses. Yeah. I searched my face. You don't, do you? Just said so many people came to my parents' store getting token roses for partners, even yell at my parents on Valentine's Day when they were on left because they get in trouble. There was no thought in it, so they didn't seem like a meaningful gift to me. But at least he's trying. Anyways, can you find a place to put these? Sure. Go on, get out of here. I smiled and thanks and headed back out into the hall.
Okay, let's get going.
Right, where are we off to today?
Well, I thought a lot about it. There's this crazy good restaurant in the mall. I made reservations for a romantic candlelit meal for 2.
A candlelit dinner. For lunch? John watched me eagerly, anticipating my reaction. Oh, great. It sounds like fun. He grinned broadly, pumping his arm as if he just won a game or something. I chuckled quietly to myself. Sure, so candlelit dinners at lunchtime weren't my jam. But he was still taking me out and trying to show me he cared. And if it was, in the most stereotypical way possible. Maybe there wasn't much thought in it as I would have liked, but the feeling was still there. I'd go along with this. That's why I told myself, but holy shit, this was awkward. John and I were seated around a table in the back of the dimly-lit room, partially secluded from the rest of the restaurant by plants and paper screen dividers. Partially secluded, as we were surrounded by bickering families and old people out for their usual discount lunch. It was unusually hot. The couple to our right kept hissing barbs at each other under their breath. The wife had already threatened to divorce her husband twice.
You okay? You're looking kind of pensive.
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I was just thinking. Thankfully, the waiter came to take our orders. I asked our waiter for water with extra ice, and the man smiled knowingly at me. Just for walking away, he produced a small dark box from within his apron. He sat in front of me and winked. With a quick glance at John, he was off. What's this?
Open it up.
It looked like a jewelry box. John wouldn't buy me jewelry, would he? I grabbed the cardboard lid and ever so gently lifted up, and saw were 2 small pink flowers shaped out of what seemed to be some kind of sugar. Oh my gosh! These are beautiful.
Aren't they? I handpicked especially for you. I figured you probably never had one, considering you're so expensive.
He faltered in the middle of a sentence, for once aware that what he was saying was not the best thing given the situation.
Anyways, they're my favorites. This old man from back home used to make some every March and bring them around to all the neighbors. Which is a lot easier said than done, because some of the grounds were huge. He had to walk quite a ways.
Really?
Really? Why would he do all that?
March like a month of anniversaries for him. Him and his wife, him moving into the neighborhood, him coming to his country, all that kind of stuff. So he tried to share it to bring a sense of community to the neighborhood.
That's so cute. I heard he used to have communal barbecues and movie nights and stuff like that.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, people would get together and help watch over each other's kids, and when there was a yard sale or someone was moving, everyone helped out. We knew what it was like to kind of be sad and tired all the time, so everyone tried to help out when they could. We're usually happier helping someone out than we were on our own.
That's so sweet.
He peered at the flower in the box.
So you already know all about this then?
I know about the feeling behind it, but I've never had this before. I'm really excited to try some.
Great.
He leaned towards me, resting his chin in his palm. His eyes stared deeply into my own, watching me intently. Did he expect me to eat it now? I was hoping to eat it after the meal, Sugar on an empty stomach usually made me feel sick, but seeing his excitement, I suppressed a sigh and took a flower out of the box. Oh! The flower was half crushed by my own fingers, even though I tried to pick it up gently. Careful, these things are really fragile. John, with the lightness of touches, took the flower from my hand and set it in his palm. Then he held it out to me. Here, eat it. He wanted me to eat from his hand? Ah! I'm not gonna bite. Go ahead. Blushing furiously, I've leaned forward and opened my mouth. John popped flower into my mouth. It melted immediately. It was sweet and light, almost kind of like... cotton candy?
Yeah!
So you do know it. The waiter brought in our food at that moment, which was a good thing because he blocked my completely incredulous expression from John's view. Fucking cotton candy. We headed back immediately after eating, John apologizing profusely for having to cut the date so short. I shrugged it off. I had to play in a tournament to prepare for. Thanks for taking some time off for me. You're busy enough as it is. Are you sure you're going to be able to handle everything?
Huh.
Yeah. Well, I have you and everyone else to help me if I need it. It should be fine. He grinned, all optimism and cheer once again. I wasn't convinced. There's a lot to do in only a few weeks, and if there was one thing I knew from projects, it was that people usually underestimate how long it took to finish. John chuckled. You know, I'll still worry about today. Wait, really? Oh yeah, totally. I've never been on a real date before, and I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. Never been on a real date, huh? The generic roses, the candlelit meal, the sugar-spun flower. Suddenly it all made sense. It wasn't that John didn't know what I liked. It was that he was too concerned about what he should be doing. John overthought our date and trying to concern my feelings. The thought was so funny that I burst out laughing right then and there.
What?
What's so funny? Nothing, you're just... surprisingly cute. Surprisingly? Yeah, surprisingly. We finally made it to my door, and as we did, I remembered the question Mai asked earlier. I said I would talk to her about it when I got back. Well, thanks for today, John. It was really fun. Wait, before you go. John dug around in his pocket. Internally, I balked. More presents? He withdrew another small black box and handed it to me. I got this for you. I took it, glancing up at him. More sugar flowers? No, open up and see. Hesitantly, almost warily, I pulled open the tab on the box.
John.
John? Inside the box was a necklace I saw in the city, the amethyst strewn with a string of pearls. I remember that was your mama's favorite, so I figured you'd want one of your own. I can kind of be twins. I mean, it's not much, but I thought it might be nice. It was kind of like paying my respects to her, even if I'll never get to meet her.
John.
John? With trembling fingers, I clasped it around my neck. Does it look alright? Definitely. You look beautiful. Your mom would be proud. I... Oh god, no, why are you crying? Did I do something wrong? Did I overstep my bounds? Oh my god, stop crying, holy shit, please stop, what'd I do? I pulled him to a hug, burying my face into his shoulder. Nothing, this is a good kind of crying. John patted my shoulders awkwardly. Good, I guess. I wiped my tears and stepped away from him, unable to meet his eyes. Sorry. Right, well then, I'm going to go. Thank you so much, John. We should do this again sometime. Ah.
Yeah!
Yeah, definitely. John skipped happily away down the hall, hardly a care in the world.
Hana.
Oh hey, back already? Yeah, I am.
What?
Nice necklace. John gave that to you? I nodded and took Mai's hands. I know John can mess up sometimes, but he's really the sweetest, most considerate guy in the world. Are we talking about the same John here? I pulled away from her, chuckling lightly. It's weird, Mai. Sometimes John can be such a buffoon, saying the wrong thing at precisely the wrong time. Quite ignorant of what you should never say to a girl. But then the other half of the time, he can be super sensitive and understand what someone's going through without them even needing to say anything. I shrugged. I just don't get it. But you like it. Of course I like it. Well, good. You were so sad the other day, I was really worried. Actually, I was so caught up in the date that I completely forgot about Mr. Bunny, too. Mr. Bunny? I glanced around my bed, looking for the tattered eye patch. I never introduced mine to him, which was kind of sad. Where was it? Where was it? I dug through the covers of my bed, then under the pillow, then inside the pillow, then under the bed, then between the bed and the wall. I flung the blankets off, scanning the floor as I shook them out. Well, what's going on? Where is it? Where's my Mr. Bunny?
What?
What? There was an eye patch with a button on it. It was fabricated as Mr. Bunny or what was left of him in it. I shifted uncomfortably and I stopped mid-sentence. You?
Oh, no.
I thought it was trash, so I threw it out while we were cleaning up. I dashed out to the back of Primrose, to the dumpsters. Cool air chilled my skin, but I barely noticed it. Pulling open the lid of the first dumpster, I lifted myself up at the edge and was about to jump in when...
Oh, no.
Anna, stop. The trash gets picked up Sunday mornings. Mr. Bunny is gone. I stopped, hanging half out of the dumpster. The smell of rotten milk and old bits of food wafted in my face. Slowly lowered myself back down to the ground.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry. I didn't know. If I had known, I would have never done it. No. No, it's okay. It's okay. I forgive you. You do?
Really?
I nodded. After all, I had real friends now. I didn't need to rely on Mr. Bunny anymore. Okay. I'll be fine. I searched my face. Then she grabbed hold of my hand. Come on, let's go back inside. It's Sunday night after all, we should have some fun.
Hell!
I know! Can you believe that? She says I love you and he says I know. What the hell? I kinda like it. I think it made sense.
No!
No, it just makes him a dick. This is why Luke is way better and he should have gotten the girl. They're siblings! Yeah, but they weren't at first. They could have...
What?
They're siblings, Mai! What the hell is wrong with you? I'm just saying that I think Luke's sexiness goes way unappreciated just because he's... I can't believe you're vouching for incest! They did it in Clueless too! Get out of my face! Okay, so... Obviously that was a reference to Star Wars. Mai's actions are not intentional. I was sure that if she could go back, she would stop herself from throwing away Mr. Bunny. My tongue got tied, sorry. Sad as I was, I should try my hardest to let it go. Chapter 4. Smug and, shocked. Now say Romeo. Huh? John held a small chunk of a cracker before the new jock, who twitched his head from side to side. Romeo, come on now. You can do it. Romeo. New jock blinked at John. John dried his hand through his hair. Been at this for the last 3 hours, all just trying to teach Jacques the word Romeo. Apparently took him the first 2 hours just to get Jacques to hold still on command. Now John was stuck on the very first word Juliet should know when to play. At this rate, I doubt his plan was really going to work out. If Jacques couldn't learn to learn Romeo, how is he going to learn Wherefore, Forsooth, or Bane? Don't worry, first word is always the hardest. After that, it gets easier, way easier. I nodded silently. Romeo, say the word Romeo. Say Romeo, for God's sake.
John.
John. I rested a hand on his arm, and he glanced at me.
Huh.
You're right, sorry. He swallowed, setting down the small cracker. Do you think you could take over? I need a break.
Yeah.
Sure, of course. John collapsed into his bed, a hand over his eyes. I bit my lip. He was so stressed out. If he was wasting all of his time on Jacques, he wouldn't be able to practice. I turned to the new Jacques. Sure is a shame this Jacques isn't human. You know, I bet human Juliet would be able to do this easily. What a weird thought, right? I looked meaningfully at John, but he was barely listening. I heard her costume is made a Juliet costume, too. She likes the design and wanted a life-size version for herself. I bet it's really pretty. Shame no one will be able to see it under the stage lights. John scoffed. What a waste of her time. So what made you want to have Jacques play Juliet in the first place? John rubbed his face, exhaling deeply. He was brushing his cheeks in a little puffs like a chipmunk. Jacques has star quality. Like anything I'd ever seen. He saw me and loved him. He had an effect on people unlike any other. That it factor, you know? He was practically begging to go into show business, and he could just make it happen. Imagine where that would take us. A grin spread across his face. I nodded slowly. And this Jacques is the same? Well, there's only one Jacques now, so he'd better be. There was a note of finality to his voice, so I turned back to the bird in question. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Nothing. The play was only 2 weeks away. Would Jacques really be ready in time? If he wasn't, the play would be a total disaster. I looked at John again, but conversation with Mai from just a few days before bouncing around my mind. If he got a human Juliet, almost all his troubles would be fixed. He wouldn't have to worry about spending time teaching her lines, because she could do it on her own. Then instead of worrying, he could study. I said to look for opportunities, right? Well, here one was. I took a deep breath. John, where do you think you should consider a human Juliet? Maybe you and Jacques, the old Jacques, would have been able to pull this off, but not this one. John sat up and blinked at me. I expected an immediate refusal, but instead cogs were turning in his mind. Maybe you have a point. A pained expression crossed his face, and I wasn't sure whether it was because he missed the old Jacques, he was mourning the opportunity lost, or he was trying to imagine playing a different way than he had the entire year. Probably all three. But you know, what if we try a new technique? Yeah, we'll let him outside if he gets the word right. That'll definitely be enough incentive, right? He beamed at me, and I was too glad to finally see him smiling again and turn him down. Besides, once John decided on something, that was how he was doing it. Besides, turn back to Jacques. Romeo, say the word Romeo.
Hey,
You know, you've gotten a lot better, birds. I thought things would get worse after Jacques destroyed Mr. Bunny. Yeah, well, you know what they say. Practice makes perfect. And it was kind of hard to be afraid of something when you're furious with it. It was the middle of the week, and class just ended. John, as he often did nowadays, went rushing out the door as soon as the bell rang. I put my bucks in my bag, intending to follow him out today's Jacques training session, when PVG stopped me.
hey,
Can I talk to you for a second? I'm in a little bit of a rush. Can I wait? I moved a step past him, but PG threw out an arm to stop me. I don't think it can. But let's not talk here. Hugh Johnny headed out into the campus, away from the flood of students and their listening ears. His face was grim, his hands firmly in his pockets. With each step we took, my anxiety increased. What was so wrong that PG had to talk to me about it? It wasn't until we got to the soccer field, nearly empty considering it was just after class, that PG finally told me what was on his mind. Is John okay?
What?
What? What makes you ask something like that? He gave me a look, one that said, I'm not stupid, that's what. I sighed. I know John's been struggling since Jacques left, but now there's a new Jacques? It's blatantly obvious it's not the real Jacques, but John keeps trying to convince me that it is, even though he knows I know otherwise. I didn't want to say anything about it since John was so adamant, but it's really weirding me out. His grades are falling, he's hardly sleeping anymore. And on top of that, he's not showing up at the meetings or paying any attention to club business. He's only one of the founders, he can't just leave everything to us. We're a team, we all need to work together. And now he's dragged you into it too. What do you mean dragged me into it? I help him, besides, I'm perfectly fine.
No.
I've seen you rushing off after every class. Follow him to our room. Then you stay until I show up after soccer practice and you rush right on out without so much as a hello. What's going on? Have you ever had time to sleep, study, go to dinner? You don't go to dinner with John, do you? You guys aren't dating, are you? I grabbed his arms on impulse, sternly rubbing him the front void for an imminent heart attack.
Hey!
PG, calm down, please calm down. I know things look really bad now, but... But what? But they would get better? There wasn't a chance in hell that would happen now of John being completely unwilling to take suggestions. But we win the tournament? Those odds looked bleak too. I hadn't had time to practice since getting wrapped up with a new jock. I think we're gonna be fine. I was just kinda hoping that my prior practice changed advice, strategy as always, would pan out for me. Then what? What could I really say? Yuji seemed to be thinking the same thing. He took a hand out of his pocket and rested on my arm. We formed a weird kind of circle, both trying to comfort the other.
Hana.
He shouldn't be allowed to drag you in this too. It's one thing to risk his own well-being, but... Yuji seemed sincerely distressed about what possible harm I was coming to. The thought was both charming and slightly ludicrous. In spite of myself, I started giggling. What? What? Why are you laughing at me? It's nothing, it's just... You're so thoughtful, PBG.
What?
What? I wiped tears in my eyes, struggling to calm down.
PBG.
You're always looking out for me. I really do appreciate it. No, it's really nothing. You're right that it's making things a little bit tougher on me, but that's okay. I volunteered for this. Things are bad, but I can't just abandon John, not when he clearly needs me most. I can't be there all the time. Can you try to make sure he's eating and sleeping? There's no way you'll be able to get everything done, and it's not looking like things will go well. He's only gonna get more and more worked up. At the very least, we can prevent some of the damage it'll cause by making sure he's a little bit healthier than he would be if left on his own. Yuji pouted, seeming somewhat annoyed. I felt bad getting him involved too, but I knew I could count on him when I needed help. No stopping John if he doesn't want to. I can try. Yuji glanced away for a second, running a hand through his hair. So you like him then?
What?
What? No, of course I didn't. There was that look again, the I'm not stupid. Maybe. Maybe a little. Well, that's fine. Yeah, maybe you'll be good for him. He sighed heavily. It wasn't all the joyous teasing response I expected from him. Do you not think we make a good couple? I know it seems unlikely. No, just the opposite. You guys would make each other happy. I can really see it working out in the long term. He sighed again. I'm sorry, Papagu. Why are you? Anyways, I don't want to keep you. We have practice today anyways. I better not see you in his room when I get back. Go home early and get some work done. Look after yourself.
See you later.
I will. Thanks, PBG. Sad PBG is sad. I rushed off the field, hoping I didn't miss anything important during today's teaching session. There were only 2 days left till the first performance. Surely there was something we could do. Right? Soon it was the day before to play, and the new Jacques was nowhere even close to ready. We only just managed to get him to keep his Juliet costume on without throwing off the hat every 5 seconds. There was absolutely no way we were also going to be able to teach him how to act and make Shakespeare intelligible to an uninformed audience. John paced nervously before me, biting his fist. Bags lined his eyes. His face was pale. And every time I came over to his room, there was another degree messier and I thought humanly possible. From hanging around him for the past few days, it was clear he was completely consumed by thoughts of the play. I tried to distract him by talking of art things, telling stories, making jokes, but it was no use. John had a one-track mind. When I managed to engage him in something else for a second, he immediately likened it to the play afterwards.
Hey.
You think we'll be able to get Jacques to do something like that?
I'd never been so near a human putting themselves under so much stress, and I had no idea what to do. At this point, I was worried about more than just the playing tournament. I was seriously concerned about his health. Feels like this now, how would he be 5 years in the future? When his job or family's future was on the line. If he kept going like this, something had to give. I don't want to have to watch that happen. Hana. I jumped. John started pacing and was now facing me, look of utter defeat on his face. Really don't know what to do. I don't think this shock is going to work out.
Really?
What? Really? You finally realized it? Up until now, he'd been adamant that it would just require a little more time. It's just, I'm so frustrated. Absolutely everything else is going perfectly. The sets are done, the extras are doing amazing, and all the other actors and actors are kicking ass. The costuming is out of this world for a school production. Lighting, sound design, the props, everything is set for it to be a perfect play except for this, and I don't know what to do. He collapsed into a seat on the couch, and I wrapped an arm around him. This isn't even counting the tournament. I've been trying to practice every night, but I have time to fall asleep when I start. And then PUG comes home, we have to do our time inside, stay up late doing those. I must be missing something. There must be some way to make this work.
It'll be okay. Don't worry, it'll all work out. I mean, you're giving it everything you've got, aren't you? It has to be it'll work out. It has to.
I rubbed his back, staring straight ahead. Truth be told, I didn't think it was going to work out. The writing was on the wall. I couldn't see where he was coming from. Even now, I held a small sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, a miracle would somehow occur. It seems stupid to suggest the grandiosity of a miracle for something as silly as school play, but still. Maybe that miracle consists of a simple choice.
Are you sure you don't want to switch to human Juliet?
John flinched and shrugged my arm off his shoulder.
Of course not. I have a vision for this play, Hana. A vision.
Besides, do you think switching now would do anything? She needed her costume adjusted, lines memorized, we have to do learn the blocking for every one, find new size props, and she'd have to be sufficiently talented. It won't work. I clenched my hands together in my lap, running my thumbs over each other. Sure, it'd be a lot of work, but I felt like John was just determined to be as miserable as possible. He wasn't so set in his ways. If he actually listened to other people's advice and suggestions, this would have happened. He honestly brought this all on himself, but he couldn't see that. It was Jacques' fault, or the world was a mean place. It had nothing to do with him being what amounted to, honestly speaking, a bad leader. I gritted my teeth. What would telling him to do now? He just gave him more angry, no doubt. If he wouldn't listen, he wouldn't listen.
Just...
John's voice caught in his throat, and he took a few deep breaths before starting over. All pain and guilt hit me, but I shook it off, my head swimming.
Just that it's not just me counting this to work. There are so many people who put their time, effort, and their passion. So many people who work so hard, give up sleep, or hurt themselves, worry about this play. And now, because I couldn't teach this damn bird, it's all going to pieces.
He put his face in his hands.
I feel like George Lucas after he realized the Phantom Menace was actually a piece of shit.
Hey, there's somebody that those would be fighting words for. I rubbed his back, nodding. There was nothing else I could really say. The truth of the situation was that John messed up, and nothing I said there would cushion the blow. John was in charge of the entire play. If something went wrong, he was by virtue of that position at least partially at fault, for he made the decision to do that thing or trust that person somewhere down the line.
Won't be as bad as you're imagining, I'm sure.
That at least was something I could truthfully say. John shook his head again, then wrapped his arms around me and buried his face in my shoulder. I stroked his hair and we sat like that in silence. It was all we could do. Finally, Romeo and Juliet's opening day arrived. I made it to the theater an hour earlier than the call time, partially because of nerves, partially because I knew my costume was going to be an absolute bitch to put on. Slowly, the other cast members began to show up. Warm-ups were performed. Makeup was put on. Stretches were stretched. Actors were an interesting bunch. Some of them were completely insufferable, the kind of people who tried to take attention from others because they definitely were making up for something else. Some were also shallow people who collected numbers and treated everyone like the best friend they hadn't seen in years.
Screaming out names and pulling them into bear hugs, only talk shit about them minutes later. But some of them were the most unique, quirky, clever people you could ever meet. Some were humble. Some were even averse to attention until they were actually on stage. One in particular I had even heard speak outside of yes, no in his lines. There were those who liked the poetry of the words, those who loved plowing the psychological depths of a given character, and those who would treat scripts as treasure hunts or puzzles, reading them over and over for the single line that would allow them to completely interpret the character's motivation. Oh no, I liked the atmosphere, and it surprised me. I was a quiet person, a bookworm, and a nerd. I didn't really like having people's attention, and being surrounded by too many strangers made me nervous, especially when I couldn't trust them. But here, people were energetic, people were funny, people were bright. More accurately, people were all over the place. It seemed like almost anything could happen, and despite the potential for mockery, no one treated me like a weirdo. They just accepted my quirks as they were. I understood why John wanted to make the play a success. How keenly he felt everyone's passion and hard work. I almost wish I could keep doing it. Almost. But that only made it all the harder when John finally showed up looking like the actual reincarnation of the Grim Reaper, new Jacques in tow.
Hana.
Anna, you look great! I stared at myself in the mirror. Yes, great. Exactly how I would put it. Truly, Tree is my most natural state.
John.
Alright, we're gonna save this. Hana the tree. I'm a tree! Snake, you're not a tree. I'm a tree! Okay, fine.
Thanks, Sean, really. I'm honored to have the chance to play the part of Tree.
Even though it was awkward to have swords flying in front of my face and people making out at my feet.
How do you think things are gonna go? You feeling okay?
John cleared his throat, then smiled. Of course, things are gonna go perfectly, all according to plan. I just know it. John did not know it. The play opened to a polite smattering of applause. The first bunch of students rolled out on stage, gathering to an actual chorus line before delivering the prologue of the play. Two households both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. The scene switched, this time to a public area. I shuffled out in my tree garb, perching right in the middle of the stage, before laughter came from the audience. My hair is still quite visible, despite my being a tree, before the actors started in on their lines. Laughter quickly faded as an all-out brawl settled onto the stage. John's knowledge of stage playing coming out in full force. Hell yeah. The audience gasped and cooed as the actors slugged it out. To the audience, it must have seemed like particularly good acting, but I knew those two actors sincerely hated each other. A few times I caught them actually trying to hurt each other. So far, so good. It wasn't long for Romeo himself came onto the scene, decrying his unrequited love for one unseen Rosaline. I narrowed my eyes. Romeo and Juliet was supposed to be a play about true love or something, but I didn't really see it. But then the audience seemed to enjoy it. As long as things kept going like this, everything would be fine. But we weren't even able to teach Jacques Juliet's lines. Oh lord. I held my breath as the scene ended and I shuffled off stage. In no time, it was Juliet's first scene. God forbid! Where's this girl? What, Juliet? Jacques twitched out on stage, glancing between the two. Jacques. Really? And just stood there. In silence.
Oh no!
Out of nowhere, a voice bellowed across the speakers.
Oh no, who calls?
John? Was John going to read Juliet's lines? Your mother.
Madam, I am here. What is your will?
The audience seemed a bit perplexed, but either way, they went along with it. A bird on stage was a novel sight after all, and they seemed intrigued to be getting something they weren't expecting. Still, John wouldn't be able to pull this off for long. Eventually, Romeo would need to speak to Juliet. When that happened... My lips, two blushing pilgrims ready stand, to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. John approached Jacques. Juliet was supposed to rebuff Romeo here, at least at first. My heart pounded in my chest as John drew closer and closer. Jacques twitched his head from side to side. Please, Jacques, please tell me you've learned something. And then Juliet opened her mouth. Whoa, my love, I am dying. Lay the sword to my breast and poison to my lips. Yeah, I am dead. John paused, unsure what to do with this development. Whispers echoed through the theater. I couldn't tell whether they were more from the actors or the audience. I have not saints' lips and holy promise too. Dead, dead, I am dead, I am hungry, feed me. I hid my face with my hands. I couldn't watch. The play went on like that, with actors violently trying to work around Jacques' utter insistence of his own demise. By the time early intermission rolled around, the audience was audibly upset. People shifted in their seats, sighing and grunting. Women whispered cutting remarks to their husbands. The outrage, though concealed, was palpable. At this point, there wasn't even a plot. It would have been avant-garde had John and the others known how to play off their mistakes, but none of the actors knew how to improvise in Shakespeare. They plowed through the scenes as if Juliet said all the right things, and as a consequence, nothing made sense. I watched it all play out in front of me, trying as hard as I could not to cringe. Trees, after all, did not cringe. As the cast sat in a dejected huddle during the first intermission, John and Pete beyond the curtains tried to gauge how the audience was taking it. People are even asking for their money back. At the rate this is going, people are going to leave before the play's even over.
John,
I'm so sorry. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Show must go on. John gazed at me. The other cast members watched us, the room stuffy and silent. So it must.
hey,
Hey, at least you didn't wreck the room. It could have been worse. This is at least better than that.
Huh.
Is it? John fixed a smudge in his makeup in the mirror, probably caused by his nervous habit rubbing his face and hair, then lined up before the curtain. Stage lights dimmed. See it really? The play continued on. In a way, it was almost inspiring how the actors kept trying to give their best performance, how John full-headedly continued his vision and start defiance of reality. The audience grew more and more restless as they saw the quality of the play wasn't improving. More proactive of them trickled out of the theater. John grew irate. Backstage, a feeling of gloom and despair flowed through the air. It was a doomed production. Everyone cared, everyone was passionate, everyone was giving it their all. But nothing they did would save the play. Actors quietly opened bottles of water, hardly speaking to each other. It was like seeing kids soberly lying in the walls of a candy store, or just playing wrong. I sat with them backstage, listening to the play when John finally came flying around a corner. But where's Jacques? He was panting heavily, abject terror on his face. Come on.
what?
Jacques, can you not find him?
Uh,
He's gone. He's nowhere to be found. I think he flew away. John's knee besbuckled and he collapsed onto the floor. It's too late. I can't do anything else. The play's over. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. I put a hand on his forehead, which was burning hot. He was breathing quickly, eyes staring straight ahead, not even registering what was in front of him. He wasn't in the theater with me. He was lost in his mind. He was having a panic attack. I swallowed hard and pulled him into a sitting position. When I had panic attacks back home, my dad always helped me calm down. I pulled John's head to my chest, stroking his hair. Hey, you're right, you're safe. You're backstage at the theater at Asagao. You're wearing a Romeo costume. I am dressed as a tree. It's hot back here. The floor is rough underneath you. People here at the play care about you, and they want you to be happy. Your friends love you and want you to be happy. I love you and want you to be happy. John's breathing started to slow, and he clutched to my arms. Also, I am dressed as a tree. That is a thing. John let out a light chuckle, mopping sweat off his brow. He sat up, clearly still a bit shaky, but much better than before. He took my hand and smiled. Thank you, Hana. I nodded and pulled him into a hug. I miss old Shock. Shock would have been able to do the play. Shock would have let me strain myself. Shock would have cared about my well-being and would have been able to calm me down, and John took a deep, shaky breath, just as the realization struck me so hard I felt like I'd been slapped in the face. John hadn't been able to grieve. Between the play, the tournament, and school, John never had time to actually feel and mourn his best friend's passing. Instead, he and I instantly found a replacement. A replacement that only spent how much he lost in the first place. This was partially my fault. What should I do? Well, I can tell you one thing. The show has to go on, for one thing. And I don't think being sympathetic is actually going to be helpful here, because we've been sympathetic for pretty much this entire time. I think we need to address the issue and move on.
Well...
John, listen. I swallowed. I hated being the bearer of bad news. Shock is gone. There's no getting him back. This new bird was a mistake. There's no replacing Jock, and I think you and I both know it. We were being too stubborn, trying to force something that wasn't meant to be. I think we both need to learn how to let things go. John didn't say anything for a long while. I stroked the back of his hair, heart pounding, hoping beyond hope I hadn't done any damage and made it worse. Snippets of the play flowed through the cracks in the curtains. They were getting close to Juliet's next scene. Would he just have to stop the play? John pushed himself away from me. I'll be right back. John scurried into the back room. I bit my lip. Did I do the wrong thing? Some of the other actors watched as I crossed to and sat down in a corner of the room. When I looked at them, they looked away. As if this whole new situation was bad enough. Finally, John returned, slowly carrying a pile of bunched fabric in his hands. It looked kind of familiar. He came out to me, then gently sat on my lap. I ran my hands across it, smoothing it out. It was thick and heavy, purple and beige. I straightened it, and folds of a dress spilled to the floor. Oh yeah? Do you mind taking over?
What?
But John, I'm not an actress. I know you know the lines from trying to teach him to Jacques this whole past month. I heard you while you were practicing. You were trying to teach him the emotion, not just the words, and the thing is, you were good. Not great, of course, but good. You made a fantastic tree, but I think you make even better Juliet. And if I hadn't been so stubborn, I would have seen this sooner.
John, I don't know. I'm really not the acting type. I've really been at stage fright. I'm just not sure.
Hana.
Hana, even if you don't think you could do it for yourself, couldn't you do it for me?
My hand shook as I held the dress up, trying to imagine it on myself. There was no way this was going to go well. There was no way. But then, it wasn't as if the play could get any worse. I wanted to take some of the strain off of John. Even if this meant that the play completely bombed, at least we could face devastation together. For once, John was truly relying on me.
It's for you. I think you can try.
John immediately pulled me into a bear hug, crushing my arms against my ribs, then just as quickly pulled away.
Yeah!
Go get changed. Hurry. I'll stall for as long as I can.
What?
Go. Yak.
John pushed me towards the dressing room, then rushed into the wings. I sprinted into the back room. The costumer stood back there, sheer glee on her face.
I always hoped this costume would see the light of day.
She stripped me down, practically demolishing my tree costume in a rush.
I can fix it later.
And pulled Juliet's dress over my head.
Oh, you've completely transformed.
She placed Juliet's hat on my head, and as she did, I peered into the mirror.
Yes.
The costume smacked me on the back, chilling me back to my senses. I had to hurry. I ran to the wings, trying to peer on stage. John was wandering in front, bemoaning the loss of his fair Juliet, certain members of the audience bumbling under their breath. Where was I supposed to enter from? I glanced around, utterly confused. Oh well, if only my fair maiden were graced with me of her fairest of presences. Shit, I need to get out there. Nothing for it. Yes. Ah. I emerged as gracefully as I could, head bowed under the harsh lights. John turned, shocked, but immediately covered his expression. My most fairest of maidens, hark! O fair, how haveth thee foundeth thine self upon this balcony of mine desire? I flushed. Now I was supposed to improv. In Shakespearean?
My heart of hearts, my love of loves, not but mine horrid folk have trepided me here.
That worked, right? Where exactly in the plot were we?
Mine love, I rushed here soon, as I'd received thine hasty message. Thine sweet Romeo, star of thine heavens, and you, the refreshed hope of mine heart. I shall rescue you, we shall then flee and frolic as none ever have.
John lifted his arms to me. I stared at him. He didn't mean for me to jump, right? Surely he was joking. But John made a face at me and flicked his fingers towards him. I swallowed.
For thee, my love! For thee I overcome!
With a deep breath, I climbed onto the edge of the balcony. Then, eyes closed, I jumped. Ah! I collapsed right on top of him and John fell to the floor. Hearing John grunt, I rolled off and away from him, ending up against a fake bush and knocking it down. I wheezed, desperately trying to catch my breath as John crawled over to me.
Hana, are you okay? Ick!
Oh,
Hana.
The play.
Oh, how often when men are at the point of death, have they been merry, which their keepers call a lightning before death? Oh, how may I call this a lightning? Oh, my love, my wife, death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. John immediately launched into Romeo's Death of Juliet speech, and I closed my eyes, doing the best impersonation of a dead person I could muster. It wasn't hard, given the circumstances. And lips, oh you, the lips of breath, doors of breath, seal for righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death. John turned towards me, eyes lit with determination. Oh no, I forgot all about this part. He placed his arms on either side of me, his face coming closer and closer. My heart beat rapidly as I tried my hardest not to scrunch up my face.
My first kiss.
John cupped his hands around my chin and placed his thumbs over my mouth.
Hmm?
He kissed the tips of his thumbs ever so tenderly and pulled away, all the sorrow of a grieving man in his eyes.
Thus with a kiss I die.
John collapsed next to me, hand in mine. The actors playing our families rushed out on stage. John and I giggled quietly.
That went well. Better than expected. You're right, Anna. Julia and Juliet was a million times better. Not least of all because I think I finally understood how Romeo felt about her.
John.
John? I mean, he almost killed me. John? Just kidding.
John grinned, nudging me in the ribs.
Shh.
In the end, the play was a success. Well, comparatively. People praised the action-packed twist at the end, seeing the entire play as a strange avant-garde performance. Juliet was a bird because she was treated as subhuman until she was finally able to exercise her free will. Something. Under this artsy pretense, we were given the benefit of the doubt and allowed to continue with the play. People complimented me on a job well done, though they didn't necessarily mean my performance. A few people did say my death was pretty convincing, though. As we hung up our costumes, John and I joked to ourselves about the new Jock's mysterious disappearance.
I think he flew to the Bahamas, or maybe he returned to that creepy shopkeeper.
I'm just glad he's out of our lives now. He was nothing but trouble. Are you sure he's not hurt, though?
Are you kidding me? That bird's even more stubborn than I am. He's got a survival instinct surpassing the fiercest lion of the savannah. He'll be fine.
Honestly, it was better that he was gone. He'd be happier that way. John said that I would play Juliet from now on, and that we could practice whatever he liked, though I wasn't too keen on that idea. Overall, as I headed to our dorms to practice like crazy before the tournament, I was happier than I'd been in a long time. Maybe there was something to this acting thing after all. I woke up next morning feeling like an entirely new person. I grabbed my uniform, laying it flat against my chest and glancing into the mirror.
Is I, Hana, an actress?
I giggled quietly to myself. I groaned from her bunk.
Sorry.
I changed my uniform and dashed out the door. Today was the day of the tournament. Maybe I could turn one win into two? I stepped out into the fresh spring air, taking a deep breath. My event was one of the first ones to go, so I had to be there earlier than most. Plus, it took a little time to get to Higginbottom. Set my shoulders and started across the campus. The arcade at which the tournament was being held was much smaller than I expected. I felt like I'd find some kind of convention, but instead it was a small local arcade full of arcade machines, smaller rooms split off, which was probably where the individual competitions take place throughout the day. A few people milled about the space, generally older folk in their 20s and 30s. I glanced at the agenda in my hand and made my way to one of the back rooms. When I entered the competition room, I found two chairs on an elevated platform. Peter and a projector standing between them and hooked up to separate controllers. Ian sat in one of the chairs, looking bored out of his mind.
Good morning.
Ian.
Hey.
About the time he showed up, I was starting to get worried that you died. And, you know, other than briefly seeing Ian at the beginning of the route, we didn't interact with any Hidden Block members. Weird.
Sweetie, be concerned.
Is it?
Yeah.
I got into the chair next to him. A man came over to me and checked my name and club affiliation.
I'm part of the Norvus Club.
Small surge of pride made me sit up straight as I said it. There were chairs lined up for people to watch us compete, and to my surprise, the entire room soon filled. As chairs were filled, my nerves grabbed a hold of me. I swallowed hard, searching the crowd to find John. There he was! My anxiety eased. I smiled and made a little wave, and he waved back. The lights around Ian and I dimmed, and the projector started up, showing the main menu of Dumb Doom's Revenge on screen. It was time to start. As the MC began his introduction and explained the rules of the game, Ian turned to me with a smirk on his face. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You bet I am.
Ready to go? The man turned to us, Ian and I nodded. Then, 3, 2, 1, start! The game began. I immediately clicked to fill my screen with 2 more lines of blocks, and began to work from what he had. I scanned the blocks through the pink cards, eliminating them one by one, making combos where I could. I still wasn't advanced enough to make playing tons of combos ahead of time, but I could make it much more likely for combos having root probability. The pinks were all but gone, green leaves were next. Dumb Doom started flipping at the top of the screen. Ian must be comboing, which meant I had a few seconds before those blocks would fall. I set up a combo on top of the screen and started eliminating the orange blocks below it. Then it happened. 6 combo jumped out at me from on the screen. My eyes crossed as I stared at it and shot. I just had to move top block over one space. Then, as quickly as I saw it, it vanished. The blocks looked normal again.
You're dead.
As Ian's blocks fell upon my humble kingdom, I slipped a combo into place. 2, 3, 4 combo, 5 combo, 6 combo, 7 combo, 8 combo. Ian's tap converting the blocks and hovered above mine. I set up several more combos and waited for him to fall. 10 combo, legendary. Dumbledore started farting out rainbows over Ian's zone, and then blocks. So many blocks. Then you come in a chunk and tame a torrential downpour. all over Ian's side, sliding from left to right and back again. Ian blinked, his eyes moving frantically over the screen. I wasn't sure he had even seen something like that before. I sure hadn't. I continued his combo while this was happening, but at this point, there was no need. Ian's screen filled up. He kept trying to make the combos till the very end, but... game over. That was it. I won. I stared dumbfounded, the screen in front of me. Ian's mouth hung open. The room was silent. Then...
Whoa!
Yeah, Hana!
Aw, yeah!
I knew you could do it! I glanced up to see the room plotting, all of it, even the hidden black glove. The announcer was gaping at the screen. I've never seen a score that high. Certain I was right as a tomato, I stood to climb off the platform. Not so fast. Ian stepped in front of me, grim as always. I braced myself for his infamous sarcasm. But to my surprise, he laughed.
Hana.
That was a hell of a game, Hana. That's exactly what I wanted from you. He held a hand in the air, looked at it in confusion. Don't leave me hanging. Oh! I high-fived him and he clasped my hand in his. Thanks, Hana. That was fun. Then he disappeared into the depressing crowd. I forced my way through it myself, eager to find John. A bouquet of roses was thrust into my vision. I took it and looked up. I thought you deserved flowers after your wondrous debut. Since you didn't get a last night and all, a lead actress deserves to be given flowers. I gazed at the deep red roses, happiness flooding me. This time, they truly meant something.
John.
Thank you. Anyways, how you going for my event? Wish me luck.
No need to. I'm going with you.
Okay, let's get going. I followed John to an event room at the front of the arcade. It was a small space, only a handful of people were there to watch the incoming Battle of the Retro Gamers.
Hey!
Hey John, ready to fight? I had a double on events this year, and I don't have your history of retro games, so I'll put up as much of a fight as I can. We'll see how it goes.
What's up?
Are you okay, John? You don't look too good. For the first time that day, I truly looked at John and realized Jimmy was right. John was pale and there were deep bags under his eyes. His hands were trembling ever so slightly.
Huh.
I've had a rough few weeks, but after this, everything will be much easier to deal with. Oh. I wasn't able to practice much. Well, maybe you still have a chance. Not that I'm gonna go easy on you. I wouldn't want you to.
John.
John. Are you sure you're alright?
John heaved a heavy sigh. It's just that. I'm one of the founders, Normal Boots, and here I was so caught up in my own business I could hardly even practice. I barely deserve to call myself a member, let alone a founder.
John, you can't be serious. You dealt with a death, losing your lead for the play, then a terrible performance at that play, and got yourself a new girlfriend. And you think you should have found a way to put even more pressure on yourself?
New girlfriend.
Ah.
Are participants ready? Of course, right at that moment, the pig-faced MC popped into the room. We're running a bit behind, so let's hurry it up. John made a face at me, then took his place beside Jimmy and picked up a controller. Right. Person with the highest score at the end of this level wins. On your marks. Get set. Play. John pressed start, and away the game went. Of course, it became apparent very quickly that John wasn't wrong in his assessment of himself. There was no way he was going to win. He needed to have practice more. John played his very best right up until the end, but it wasn't even close. Jimmy finished several thousand points ahead, and John sat down and controlled for Grimace. The crowd, disappointed after hoping for a good show, retreated back into the main entry hall. John stared at his hands. Hey. There's always next year. It was a pleasure. John nodded, extending his hand for her handshake. Congratulations. Jimmy took John's hand, the relief so plain in his face that it was almost painful.
Hey.
You still did really well despite circumstances.
Ha! Sure I did. At least you won your event. Maybe with that, we still have a chance. And just like that, John was his regular cheery self, though still a bit tired. Wanna go look around?
Are you sure you're alright?
He shrugged. It's over. What am I gonna do, Martin? He grinned at me and I chuckled half-heartedly. Too soon, John.
Then let's play.
Yeah!
Alright. Eventually, the MC took the stage ready to announce the winner of the tournament. John's hand slid to my own as the MC opened a tiny envelope containing the results. And the winner of this year's tournament is the Normal Boots Club. Yes! John and I screamed and punched the air, and given that our hands were intertwined, it looked like we combined forces to take out some kind of monster anime style. Normal Boots Club and I swarmed the stage, piling around both the trophy and the MC. John grabbed the microphone from the MC, who looked as though he had been mugged.
This year's victory goes right out to the rest of my club members. I really dropped the ball. If it weren't for them, there is no way we would have won.
John motioned to the group of us on stage, pausing to allow us for the audience's applause.
Finally, I have two announcements. First of all, join us in welcoming Hana Mizuno, newest member of the Normal Boots Club, and my girlfriend.
A swarm of gas threw from the men around me. John motioned me to the front of the stage where I stood next to him, blushing furiously.
See?
We couldn't have won without her. Ain't she cute?
John! I shoved him and the crowd laughed. Then something soft encircled me. Yuji wrapped a Normal Boots jacket around my shoulders. Thank you.
If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have won. Asagao Academy wouldn't have had a drama club. He's the real hero this day.
The audience applauded politely once again. John smiled gently at me, then turned to face the crowd with a rather serious expression.
Finally, I have one more announcement.
He waited a few moments for the crowd to settle. As I saw the look on his face, the mood sobered.
I would also like to dedicate this victory to our fallen comrade at arms, Jacques.
Huh.
Sadly, he is no longer with us. I haven't been able to find a way to repair him, and until that day comes, our robot bird friend will be missed.
I wrapped an arm around John's shoulder as he lowered the microphone from his face. There was a moment of silence, and then John passed the microphone back to the MC. After John's announcement, there wasn't much more to the tournament. The crowd left soberly. The excitement of our victory vanished. At least it didn't until Satch met us just outside the arcade.
What?
Shock had been broken this whole time. Why didn't you tell me? Let me have a look on him. I'll see what I can do. Satch took Jacques under his wing and enlisted the help of the only other person in all the Academy who would understand robots. Kakasu.
I don't understand. Why her of all people? Is she part of the electronics club or something?
Don't worry about it. John paced the floor like an expectant father, glancing up every so often at how the operations were proceeding. John, don't worry. Jacques got getting worse than he already is.
Huh.
I know that, Hana. I know.
John stopped pacing, instead coming to rest his head on my shoulder.
I know he can't get any worse. But what if he gets better? Part of me wants him to come back, and part of me...
John?
What if he doesn't have his memories anymore? What if he's got a completely different personality? What if he doesn't like me? How in the world am I gonna deal with that?
John,
I really don't think you need to worry about that. Small thump came from inside the room, and John jumped.
Everything okay?
Nothing to report. We've got it handled. John resumed pacing the floor. No matter what I did, nothing would calm him down. He was beyond help. Finally, the operations were done, and Satch Kakasu approached us nervously.
Bill, how'd it go?
The operation was a complete success. Jock. John. I've missed you, John.
Jock.
The rest of us left after that. John was cheering up, and we thought it best to give him some privacy. In fact, I didn't see him for several days. But eventually... Ka!
He can even fly now. Can you believe that?
Yes. Sag said Koksu did some kind of optimization on him so his wires don't run through his wings anymore. He's happy as a clam. People need to fix their mufflers. Anyway, Shock swooped down between us for a split second, just long enough to add, I resent that. I really think he'd be a star someday, Hana.
I'm sure he can, John. I'm sure he can.
We'll see what I have to say about that. John and I were officially dating. Shocker, ever-present third wheel. Well, that was how I would have liked it to be. To be honest, it was more like I was the third wheel. John and Jacques' bond, stronger than steel and wires, surpassed even the love John and I had for each other. But I didn't mind. All I cared about was seeing John happy, and if Jacques was a part of that, well, maybe I could learn to love Jacques too. I have a bright future ahead of me. I believe this.
Yeah!
You do. Together we'll be the best actor-manager pair the world's ever seen. You'll see your name in lights if it's the last thing I ever do. Believe it. And of course, Hana will be our side the whole way through. Right, Hana?
Yeah.
Of course.
Huh.
Man, this is great. I got two talented actors with me, not to mention a girlfriend I absolutely know I can count on. We've got a bright future ahead of us, I just know it. Not if I can help it.
These two.
It looks like I would be stuck with them for a long time to come. And to be honest, that sounded wonderful to me. Best end. So, John's route. Initially, when I played this game, it was one of the harder routes because a lot of the choices have some amount of validity to them, but one mistake can send you careening into a bad or even a worse end. It's one of those kinds of routes. Anyway, so what we learned here today is that grieving needs to be done. If you've lost someone, don't feel like you need to not grieve. You need to take your time to recover, to learn to carry on, or yeah, that basically. You also need to consider the steps that you should take in order to help someone who might be grieving. Like whether they want it or who should help, that sort of thing. But yeah. Overall, I know that John is a little intense in this route, in this game in general actually, but yeah. I'd say it's pretty good. And we are approaching the sound barrier here of after credit scene. Thanks for playing. Jacques, over here, please look at me.
No, over here. Sam Aircraft, I love you. You've created a monster.
No, I've created a star.
I have to admit, I had my doubts with this whole Jacques as a superstar deal, but I guess you knew exactly what we were doing.
I know, right?
Hell yeah, I did. Jacques was now an internationally recognized celebrity with fans from several countries and all walks of life. They came from far and wide to see this amazing acting bird. At first, he was just a novelty, but it seemed that the first time someone saw him perform live, they fell in love. His fandom grew exponentially. Remove this. Until we had to take him on tour, then he started getting television and movie offers. Jacques just had a way about him that just made people want to love him. It was an odd turn of events, but I was enjoying the ride. For the most part. Now that Jack is a star, I'm ready to set my eyes on my next.
You're next.
John winked at me. I didn't like that look. But that was a discussion for another day. John watches birds, stars in his eyes. My beloved Jacques. I mean, would it kill him to pay more attention to his actual girlfriend? I decided rapid arm went through John's. Some things would never change.
Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
And Caddy sends us off to that. My god. Anyway, thank you for coming out to this heck of a mess here, to this streamboying event day. Okay, well, let's see here. Nah. Let's see. Anyway, thank you for coming out today's stream boying. Hope to see y'all again. Y'all have a wonderful day. And I will see you guys later. Hasta la vista. And now we end.